I want to reword this. The United States Supreme Court has decided not to hear any arguments regarding the TikTok ban bill today, making the January 19th ban imminent, barring some sort of miracle. ByteDance is said to pull all of its applications from United States app stores on the 19th. We will no longer be able to access the apps. The American government is only showing the entire rest of the world that they will only allow American citizens access to misinformation if it has the Israeli stamp of approval. To the American government, you'll find me on RedNote. Ni hao, motherfuckers.
It's the Homeless Left with Matt Weinglass and co-host Craig Pasta Jardula and Don DeBar. Episode 76, Counting Down to Hitler. And here's your host, Matt Weinglass.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Homeless Left. We are counting down to Hitler. We have that in quotes for you because that's been the scare tactic of the left and the mainstream media, that we are counting down to fascism, the end of democracy as we know it. That's coming on Monday, so we only have a few days left. So before everything we know and love is gone. Of course, us here in LA, a lot of people have lost everything over the last week. The fires have taken a lot of people out, but there's still vote blue no matter who. People living right here in California, sitting by their TV, what's left of their houses, still thinking that the biggest, most horrible day in their life is coming on Monday. And meanwhile, the entire towns and the cities in Southern California are all burnt down. So the irony there is pretty much off the chain. Let's let you guys know what we have coming up today. We will be joined very soon by our co-host Craig Pasta Jardula, and later on in the show with Don DeBar. We have a lot to get into today. The Israel-Palestine ceasefire deal. We're going to be breaking that down for you. The TikTok ban seems to be backfiring. So we're going to tell you guys a little bit about the RedNote stuff going on. More on the LA fires right here in Southern California. And of course, the Trump inauguration stuff. We're looking at some of that, what to expect coming Monday as far as any surprises might be looming. Of course, then we also have a top censored news of the week. And later in the show, we'll be joined by Leslie, who'll be doing a little talking back with you guys. So get your comments ready. We are on YouTube, our new channel. We're going to call it our, kind of our secret burner channel. That's that we started because our last one got terminated. So you guys can follow us there now. It's brand new. Again, we're going to keep it kind of secret and on the down low. But you can find that right now or on the replay or later on. But just, jot this down now. This is THL Presents on YouTube right now. That's our burner channel. We'll see how long that lasts before they pull that as well. And of course, we're right here on Rumble, Twitter, X. We are on The Homeless Left. You can find us there. That's our main home base, because we know that even though the censorship industrial complex is everywhere else, they're at least having us have the discussions and not pulling our live feeds and giving us strikes. But we are being surveillanced, that's for sure. So we have to deal with that part, but at least we can have the conversation. So we do appreciate that on Rumble and X. And of course, our support. We'd love for you guys to get more involved with us, helping us survive and fight the censorship industrial complex over on Locals. We really appreciate all your guys' support so much. And thank you guys for joining us. We will be actually leaving our YouTube stream later on to do kind of the stuff that we shouldn't be doing on YouTube. So we'll let you know when to make that crossover. Those of you that are watching on YouTube right now. The Homeless Left is now coming to you twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. We want to give you guys more content, more, spur in the moment observations. We're not waiting a whole week to give it to you guys. You guys can count on us here, 12 noon Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern, twice a week now, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So again, we appreciate all your guys' support. Before we get started, quick reminder to everyone watching today, if you're first time or long-term watcher, to you guys at home watching, we are here for anybody who's feeling uneasy about the state of politics, our economy, our society, over these last few years. Anyone who feels like their party or their tribe or whatever you call it, we call it a tribe. But if you're getting pushback from them just for asking questions, if you no longer want to play the game of tribalism, the game of identity politics, red team versus blue team, you're sick and tired of the hate and division being sold to us by the mainstream media, and you're sick and tired of being told to punch onto your neighbor, punch down at people that don't have any power. You already start holding people in power accountable and start punching up with us. Then the Homeless Left is the place for you. Homeless Left is our story. We started from the left. Now we're here. Where did you start from? Where do you feel homeless from? You could be from homeless right, homeless middle, homeless up, homeless down, homeless upside down. It doesn't matter. We're all homeless. Let's do it. We're all homeless together. Okay. With that said, let's get ahead and start with what we love to start the shows with all the time every Thursday. It's time for Top Censored News of the Week.
Uncancelled Comedy Collective presents Top Censored News of the Week.
It's time for Top Censored News of the Week, bringing you the stories the mainstream media refuses to cover, but if they do cover them, they always do it in a very dishonest or sloppy way, and it's always on purpose. Let's go ahead and bring in our co-host for today to get into these stories with us. Craig Pasta Jardula, welcome back.
What's up, Matt? How you doing?
Very good. How are you, Craig? How are you holding up? How are you holding up on the east side there?
Good. I mean, all things considered, a lot of challenging things in life, but we're working through them family-wise, hoping the best for mom. But, that's what happens when, unfortunately, people get to a certain age. But there is one thing I do want to mention, because it is a new year, and I think we have to make sure we have to continue to do this. You did make one error there, Matt, in the beginning when you were talking about the countdown to Hitler. That's not the left, okay? I think our boys pointed it out on Due Dissidence. I've been saying it for quite some time as I go overseas. There's no such thing as a left in America as far as parties are concerned, meaning the Democrats are not left. That's the Democrats who are doing that, because it's impossible, and this is something, like I said, Due Dissidence points out, Russell and Keaton, that you can't have a Wall Street funded left party, because the left party, being left, is paying attention to the working class. And the Democrats, they ignore not just the working class, they ignore class altogether, poverty, whatnot. They want us caught up in these culture wars, and they want to give you the oh my God factor. I know we don't have it on the show today, but there was even somebody on CNN yesterday trying to have a discussion. She goes, "I don't need to take it from a white man who doesn't know anything." They're going to continue, because I've peeked at CNN. I've peeked at MSNBC. They're going to continue to try to play this game so they don't have to talk about foreign policy. They don't have to talk about class. And in fact, Gerald Celente, our good friend, always points out that when you poll Republicans and Democrats, if it's an important issue, only 3 to 4% of Democrats and Republicans think that foreign policy is an important issue. So it's up to us to deliver to them that what happens over there will eventually come home and happen here. So I don't think that it's the left that plays the game. I think it's the Democrats, and we have to finally acknowledge and scream it from the rooftops, Matt. They're not left.
They're not left. We have other names for them, like the Vote Blue No Matter Who's, a little more derogatory names we've come up with over these months, like the shit libs. But you're right.
Synthetic left.
Yeah. So, but the name they've taken from us, and we want to take it back. We're calling ourselves homeless right now. We're calling ourselves homeless from the left, but we're not the ones that left them. We're not the ones that abandoned those values. They did. We kept who we were. Similar to RFK Jr. being pushed out of the party, aside from the Zionism, but he had those values that they basically rejected and said, "You're no longer part of this." You know who they welcomed in? They welcomed in Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney didn't change his values. The party did, and it lined up perfectly with the Bush-Cheney Halliburton regime from 20 years ago. Perfectly lined up. But none of those Vote Blue No Matter Who people ever got curious about why are we accepting Dick Cheney into the party now? I wonder why. Well, that's why. So here we are, homeless left, as homeless as can be. Let's get into the top censored news. This is the news the mainstream media refuses to cover, but we're going to cover it. Let's start with Coming in at number 3, Trump heightens inauguration security after Netanyahu cancels his appearance. This is a story that I think is important because the order of events matter here. So what I want to show you, and I would like your thoughts on this one, Craig, because what we're looking at is, well, first let's go ahead and play this video of the security that's being prepared, and this is for Monday. This is Monday the 20th. This is the kind of preparation they are doing right now. Let's play that right here. Here we go.
What's different is we are in a higher threat environment.
What is the difference in comparison to the last inauguration or previous inauguration?
Last inauguration?
Yeah.
I would say we have a slightly more robust security plan. We've been planning for this event for 12 months, along with our partners. It's an ever-changing threat environment, and so we stay flexible. If we see that, hey, we need to shore this particular checkpoint up, we do that. So what's different? We've learned. This is our 5th NSSE this year in the Washington field office. We've done 83 NSSEs. Each one we take a look at, and if there's areas where we need to improve, we do it. But what I can tell you is that we are 100% confident in the plan that we have put in place for this inauguration, that the public and our protectees will be safe.
Okay, so that sounds kind of normal, kind of what we have generally. And I know that you could say, okay, that's okay, whatever. They're just doing that because you kind of want to do that. But here's the problem is that we got to look at the timeline here, Craig. This is the part that stuck out to me. What we know last week on January 8th, Trump tweets out, and we covered this on the show on Tuesday. Trump tweets out Jeffrey Sachs talking about Netanyahu as a son of a bitch. He tweets that out on, I say tweet, but it's on his Truth Social. And Netanyahu sees this. Now, that was January 8th. On January 9th, this timeline is important. Netanyahu cancels coming to the inauguration the very next day. Also on January 9th was Carter's funeral. So let's go ahead and look. So just so people can see this, this is from RT. We have Netanyahu canceling the trip. And see, it doesn't really give an explanation. I mean, there's been different ideas of why. Somebody says it was a health thing or some sort of conflict, but that happened on on the 9th, same day as the Carter funeral. Why is that important? I'm gonna let you see this because there is certainly an incident or two that was taking place at the Carter funeral that was not reported by the mainstream media. Let's take a listen to this, and I want your thoughts on this one, Craig. Here we go.
I think for all of us, remains the lone actor. Just in the past week, while President Carter was lying in state, we had 2 lone actors show up at the Capitol. One trying to bring in knives and a machete. Another one who was trying to, what I believe, to disrupt the proceedings by setting their car on fire down in the Peace Circle area.
Is there anything here with that timeline, Craig, or do you think it's same old, same old? Do we have an issue right now as far as distrust between Netanyahu, Trump, and is there something he needs to be worried about happening leading up to Monday?
You know where I stand on this. I don't believe in this stuff one bit. I believe those can be singled out mentally ill people that they're trying to get there. You know, we witnessed one of those guys at a RFK event in California that they got, and these people aren't playing with a full deck. And this is a systemic issue that we have where people are all, unfortunately on a lot of medications. They're very, very unbalanced. Mental illness is at an all-time high. They're on these SSRIs. So, we're going to see a lot of these situations, just like the potential people who, the potential lone gunmen or, what people want to believe. Some people want to believe, when Donald Trump says it was Iran, some people want to believe that when people say it was Ukrainian forces, whatever the case they want to be. The point is that I don't believe there is any, despite Jeffrey Sachs, despite Jeffrey Sachs' video being retweeted by Donald Trump, I don't buy into that he's trying to put Netanyahu on a leash. I don't believe that Netanyahu is upset. I don't believe that the Israeli foreign ministry is upset, or the Zionist nations, or the oligarchs who run what's going on with Israel and their colonization projects. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's important, and you let me know when it's time to talk about it, on the ceasefire and who's patting themselves on the back and if it's real or whatever, and we'll get a little bit more explanation. So I don't buy into any of this stuff. I think a lot of this is kabuki theater, and I think there's just as much threat to Donald Trump's life as there was a couple years ago as there is today now. That's just my personal opinion.
Okay. And that's fair enough. And again, the point is why we're doing this on Top Censored News is because these are discussions that aren't even being had on mainstream. We want to look at this stuff. We want to see how much validity there is, and that's why we do this. So that's why that made number 3. Let's get on to number 2. The number 2 story is 100 million Americans download Redbook, the Chinese app, in one day in protest of the TikTok ban. Interesting. So what is Redbook? Well, we're gonna spend more on the time on the Redbook, going down that one a little bit later in the show. But for now, I just want people to understand that the reason why everybody went on to Redbook is because I'm sorry, is it Redbook? Did I get that wrong? Is it RedNote?
It's RedNote.
Okay, let me change that up.
It's
RedNote. Yes, that was a typo in there. That's my bad.
I asked you about it, but I didn't. You set me straight.
I set you straight. I said,
it's RedNote, and you said it's one letter. And let me tell you something. As we got a RedNote, you told me yesterday about it. Nico put out that it was amazing. I saw Sabby Sabs tweet something great about it, and then Nick commented like great things are happening. And you were talking about the youth educating each other on what's going on, and just giving a different perspective of what Americans have been propagandized to think. And I went on it for 20 minutes today, and I loved it. I'm like, this is amazing. They're not going to let this thing go for too long because they're normalizing things, right? Now, I know the conspiracy theorists are going to say they're normalizing an authoritarian government over there in China, so Americans go into it and get on the We app, and that's it. No, I think there's a lot more to it than this. I mean, like I said, I don't think they're going to let it go for so long. But, Matt, I completely love it. I've been seeing American guys on there going, I live in China, teaching some words. I've been seeing Chinese people saying, welcome to RedNote. Look at my culture. It's fascinating. It makes me want to go open up a pizzeria in Beijing somewhere or in China somewhere and just share culture and love with these people. It's just fantastic. And the one thing you cannot deny is that the quality of life for the Chinese is much better for the everyday Chinese person than the quality of life for the everyday American. And that's something I think that frightens the shit out of the establishment.
Well, not that their life's better. Also, there's been no interaction. There's been no awareness. There's been no dialogue. The ability of our government and the Western media to censor this type of information access, that's been the big wake up call, I think, for the Gen Z generation who has jumped on this thing, which started as a protest. It started as a protest to our government that's doing this. TikTok ban is going to happen. It looks like it's about 99.5% a go on the 19th, that they're throwing everyone off. And that's a whole nother thing. Like you talk about people's lives that are going to be very much affected by this. They built everything on the TikTok app. It's gone as of the 19th. So they went to the RedNote app as a protest because our government is telling the narrative, this fake narrative, that the reason we're banning TikTok is because we're afraid of China taking it over, where we know the real reason, and the Gen Z knows the real reason, is because they don't want us being critical of Israel. That's it, period. So it almost to me seemed like a little bit of a we'll get you on a protest just to go to a Chinese app just to show you we can do what the hell we want. Then when they get to the app, they go, oh, wait a minute. What is all this stuff that we know nothing about that was going on in China this whole time? So it's a big wake-up call, wake-up moment. And I do think that our oligarchy, the Western media, the Western empire is going to be squirming right now, trying to figure out what to do about this, for sure.
It's gonna be, and it's good because Donald Trump's gonna have to deal with it. He's gonna have to answer for it. And I hope a lot of people, listen. Really, to tell you the truth, what's going on with Donald Trump and his relationship with Elon Musk is a big conflict of interest, and a lot of Trump people should be pissed off, but they're okay with it now because they think he's there on his side. But as they have more and more disagreements, and the more Trump lies to the people, the quicker it is they'll abandon him. And I know people think, oh, that's impossible. Listen, I didn't think that Bernie Sanders would be as unpopular as he is today, but if you don't support the people and you capitulate to the powers that be, the people will abandon you. And Donald Trump is walking that close, tight line. I don't know if he's just going to go for it now that he's the president. He doesn't care. This is his last term. But with the HB1 visas, with the Clark Kellogg anointment, who's a pro, anti-Russian hawk, and you said you're going to end it in 24 hours. Now you're going to say you're going to give it 100 days. I mean, here you are right now. You're starting to fall into it. You're pushing Mike Johnson for speaker, who is for the FISA 702, FISA unwarranted. I mean, these things are really, really bad. So if RedNote comes into play, and a lot of TikTokers that were already lost their livelihood, because remember, you can make money on TikTok, and now they go to RedNote and they're trying to make, and they're getting a following, making money or whatever, and he pulls it again, the youth is going to feel abandoned. Right? You know what I'm saying? And that's where they're going to try and sell the Democrat, the synthetic left again. They're going to come around and say, I would have never. Watch how many of these Democrats, at the end of the day, will be pushing back against this. The whole squad, people who have been all about deplatforming and getting rid of misinformation, they're going to now jump on that wagon and play on your emotions. And it's going to be it's going to be a tough job for us to make sure that we explain that everybody's full of shit. Right? And our freedom of speech is freedom of speech. So this is going to be interesting. And I'm going to wonder how Donald Trump is going to be pushed, because a lot of people are going to start seeing his Elon situation as a conflict of interest. They're going to say, wait a second, you're not for free speech. You're just for speech for one team. And Elon's promoting his people. And that's not what we want. Watch. There's a lot of Trump people that are smarter than you think out there. MAGA people. I didn't say Trump. They'll carry on the MAGA banner, right? Because they'll still have their ways. They'll still be pissed off about, immigration and other things, but we'll be able to have more nuanced conversations as Donald Trump continues to lie and they detach.
Yeah, agree. Well said. Let's get on to the number one story on Top Censored News. Coming in number one, Israel-Hamas ceasefire deal is bullshit. It's not real, guys. It's called fake news. That's what it's called. And we're going to show you guys this. And we'll probably get a little bit more into it later when we bring Don DeBar on as well, because we really want to look at this closely. But let's start with this.
Matt,
you guys
how come you don't have that my cousin Vinny clip where he goes, everything that guy just said is bullshit? You need to get that.
I love that. That's good.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, buddy.
No worries. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with this one. This is Trump. What we saw was this. The Trump envoy was the one who swayed Netanyahu more in one meeting than Biden did all year. So the envoy, his name is Witkoff. So this was last Friday evening. Stephen Witkoff, the Trump's envoy to the Middle East, called from Qatar to tell the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu aides that he would be coming to Israel the following afternoon. The aides politely explained it was in the middle of the Sabbath, but the Prime Minister would gladly meet him Saturday night. Ooh, look, I love the drama in this story. All right, so Witkoff's blunt reaction took them by surprise. He explained to them in salty English that Shabbat was of no interest to him. His message was loud and clear. So this is very forceful storytelling here that he came in there. Unusual departure from office practice. The Prime Minister showed up in his office for an official meeting, who then returned. Let me see the rest of that one. We got to take that. Okay. The official meeting with Witkoff, who then returned to Qatar to sell the deal. Now, here's where things get, because there's more to it. That's okay. So that was put out there. We saw that. Then, of course, Biden goes and does a PR moment. We have a couple days left of his presidency, and I guess he felt like this was the time to take full credit for this deal. Here's what Biden has to say about this deal.
Secretary of State. Let's listen.
Good afternoon. It's a very good afternoon, because at long last, I can announce a ceasefire and a hostage deal has been reached between Israel and Hamas.
Who takes credit for this, Mr. President, you or Trump?
Is that a joke? Oh, thank you.
And if that isn't enough to, because again, now, okay, so we have the two camps now fighting each other. If you guys have gone on social media in the last couple of days, you've seen these fights. Oh, Trump is lying. Biden's the one that did it. No, Biden's lying. Trump's the one that did it. Well, I hate to burst both of your bubbles, but unfortunately, this deal is total BS all from the beginning. And if we can bring this up here, Jamie, it looks like that this is kind of breaking news here. After agreeing to the ceasefire, Israel's bombing tents packed with civilians in Gaza, burning Palestinians alive in the middle of the night. This was last night. Do you have that? Do you have that, Jamie? It's on the. So I can bring it up the shared screen, so you guys can check this out. That's yours. That's the wrong one. Here's mine. Hold on.
Yeah, it was tense, right?
This was last night.
Yep. Bombing refugees in tents.
So
it's going to take a while, Matt. That's phase one.
Now, of course, there's people pushing back saying, well, the deal doesn't go through until Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay. So they can just go and do that. Fine. That's fine. But listen, guys, it's worse than that. It's worse than that. This is what we saw here from Hotspot. Israeli media is reporting that Trump promised that. Okay, so this is the first part where this is just that story we told you guys about, that they're reporting it that this was a retroactive deal. But look, when you get closer to it, you can see that this deal wasn't even that good, because he would retroactively break the Gaza ceasefire and restart the war after signing the deal. This was this little wink behind the scenes that happened with this envoy that they were reporting was this very strong, just forceful deal that he forced Netanyahu to do. Trump also offered a gift bag of benefits, such as lifting sanctions on Israel's Pegasus spyware, as well as IDF soldiers accused of war crime. It gets worse. According to Al Jazeera English, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said his cabinet will not meet as scheduled to approve the Gaza ceasefire deal, blaming Hamas for causing a last-minute crisis.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I tweeted out, I got to get this one in here, because this one, I had to get this up here. Anyone following the illegal occupation and genocide of the Palestinian people, plus all the broken ceasefire deals by Israel thus far, could have predicted this was going to happen next. Shaking my head.
Yeah. Matt, in that tweet, I think you hit it perfectly. How many ceasefires have they broken? They break every single ceasefire. So we shouldn't call it a ceasefire. They haven't held a ceasefire since 1946. They pause. It's a pause, and then they go back to terrorizing the Palestinians. So, it's never been a ceasefire. And here's something else, too. And I was dying to say this on WBAI yesterday, but I didn't, because I didn't want to piss off some of the Democratic brass over there, but I talked about them. I bragged when Obama got a ceasefire before his inauguration, right? I was like,
yeah,
look at that. There he is. Hope and change already happening. Already a ceasefire with the Israelis. Watch what Obama does. And it's just the same play script over and over and over again. It's not a ceasefire when the Israelis cease to fire.
Yeah.
And like you said, there's also nuggets in that deal. One of those deals is if that Hamas doesn't do X, Y, and Z, right, they can go back to bombing and killing the Palestinians. So the question is, while everybody's, and I think the majority of people are praising Donald Trump, right? I'd say this is about an 80% of the people out there, even the Democrats, are like, we see leftist, real leftist.
No, it's 50-50, Craig. I'm seeing 50-50. I'm seeing
No way.
They couldn't have planned this better to have.
I am not seeing 50-50, but that's me.
I'm seeing people. I'm seeing this blue no matter who.
Put up a poll right now.
You want to pull? Yeah, let's pull it right now. Okay.
I'll pull it up. I'll put up a poll on Twitter and we'll check on it later. Okay. All right. But let me I'm
telling you, there is a very, very angry voice coming from the blues no matter who's. And what they're saying is, how the hell is this piece of crap Hitler that's about to take away our democracy on Monday? How the hell is he going to take credit for something that Biden's been working very patiently on his whole presidency? He's the president. Trump's not even president. Doesn't make any sense. So they are furious right now that Trump would even, they're saying he's a liar. So you got this, was perfectly crafted to put both of these camps, both of these tribes at each other's throats as we're counting down the final days of Biden's presidency. It's genius on their end. I really believe I'm seeing a 50-50 split on here. It reminds me of the election crap all over again, where people unfriend each other and uninvite themselves to family dinners. Okay, you're doing it. You're doing.
I'm doing it right now. Okay. So, but I lost my train of thought about why I said though. As I said, most people are giving credit for Donald Trump for the ceasefire. You know, I've seen even leftists, and I'm not talking about Democrat Party. Leftists even giving him credit.
Right.
Glenn Greenwald, Jimmy Dore, right? You see all these people out there, no matter that Donald Trump did this and that, right? This is good, you know. I mean, and I said, no, this is bullshit. This is the same rhetoric because even Obama did it, the same thing. We did the praising of that. It's not a ceasefire. They're not going to hold the terms. This is kabuki theater. But the thing I wanted to get to really quickly is that when people are patting themselves on the back, and even PSL members are doing it. Oh, we did this because we're the ones we got in the streets. The students are like, see what we were able to accomplish and stuff. No, this is directly, in my personal opinion, the right. I put that video in the private chat. Can we play that video real quickly? Because here's the thing. People say that Donald Trump can read the room. Well, if it's Donald Trump reading the room or it's his handlers reading the room, Matt, they understand that Americans, his base, his MAGA base, a lot of them are done with this Israeli thing. You can't be America first if you're Israeli first. Been saying it for quite some time. And by the way, for the people out there going, Pastor Marian Adelson only gave him $100 million. What about 2016? What about 2020?
Yeah.
It's $300 million. Every freaking cycle, they give close to $100 million coming out of the same bank account, guys, whether it was Sheldon or Miriam, $300 million. Let's get it straight. But that's why. And that's why they have to play this kabuki theater. And a lot of people are getting duped by it. I mean, I saw a leftist saying he should get a Nobel Peace Prize award, and I wanted to punch him through the phone, right? Some of the Jackson Hinkle stuff is just beyond craziness, right? Like, oh, they won. What did they win? They killed a bunch of Palestinians. They pretty much displaced or murdered half the population, right? And they expanded their territory. It's like somebody saying, you need to stop killing and looting. Well, am I going to be responsible for everybody I killed? No. Can I keep everything I looted? Yes. Okay, I'll stop. I'll pause because you'll allow me to go back to it again. It's never ending. The only real way you'll see a pushback against Israel, Matt, they cut the funding.
Yeah.
The funding gets cut. That's the only real move in ceasefire. Like my cousin Vinny said, everything else this guy said is bullshit. Go ahead, buddy.
And if you put up you want to put that up right now? Okay.
Put it up right now.
Everything that guy just said is bullshit.
Hey, Craig, before you put that poll up,
yes.
I was thinking about it because I think that we're kind of saying two things that need to kind of come together. Let's adjust this poll because it's pretty interesting when you think about the manipulation of pitting people against each other because you actually have three camps. You have three camps, so it might be 30-30-30 split here.
What's the third count?
Well, we sing this from so we've been in the street with the Palestinian protesters, right? We were in Chicago. We were outside the DNC. There are people in that camp that might have at the last second voted for Kamala and Biden because they hated Trump so much, but they just wanted that ceasefire so bad. Now they see it happening, and they're saying Biden came through for us. They They're
Okay.
justifying
I'm
their
gonna put pro-Palestinian. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put. The question is, who do you credit for the ceasefire that Israel won't honor? 1, Trump. 2, Biden. 3, pro-Palestinian protesters, and 4, the MAGA crowd.
How about this? How about just the three options are who gets credit for the ceasefire? No, okay. A, what's your feelings on the ceasefire? Does Trump get the credit? Does Biden get the credit? Or is the whole thing bullshit? Maybe those are the three camps. I'm trying to simplify it.
Well, I already put it's all bullshit in the question. Who do you credit for the ceasefire that Israel won't honor? I'm not. We shouldn't change that. And we can do 2 polls. You could do a poll. I could do a poll. Because I have a theory, and mine is that it's the MAGA crowd, right? I'm going to put anti-Zionist MAGA folk.
Look, I think at the end of the day, here we are a few days away from the inauguration, where we're going to lose our democracy. The worst thing about to happen, yet we're sitting here completely. So many people in this country right now, they're so confused. What I'm telling you right now, this part's important before we move on. I'm seeing right now people who are very well educated, people who have a sensibility. They knew something was been wrong. They knew that there's a genocide being taken place. They know that Biden's been funding it. They've kind of stayed out of the conversation. They kind of stayed in line. They saw this ceasefire deal happen, and they're now like celebrating. They're celebrating right now, Craig. I'm telling you, and I'm thinking, what are you celebrating? You haven't even been engaged with this. You don't even know what's happening. And I feel kind of like I'm angry at these people, but I also feel bad because I'm like, they don't know how complicated this is. They don't understand that there is nothing to celebrate. And they want to believe that their Democratic Party finally did something right. And I don't understand it, man.
I think it
sucks.
You know what? Here, first of all, 2 things. Number 1, obviously, I think that's the voices that they're amplifying because that's what they want you to think, and they want the country divided. No, Biden versus Trump, Democrat versus Republican. Number 2, you are in LA, so yeah, you got that LA stain on you, man. You got that LA. Oh my God! If you vote for the Green Party, you're supporting Donald Trump. You get that in LA, and there's a lot of stupid people like that, unfortunately. And they exist right over there. You know what I'm saying? They some of them exist down over here in Miami too as well, but they're drowned out. In New York, there's a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? You should see yesterday on a call on WBAI, and I was talking about Syria, that Israel was part of cooing and toppling it, and that guy, no. Israel had nothing to do with Assad falling. It's like, dude, you have to argue that Democratic line no matter what. Okay. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So they're there, but we'll see. We have a poll now because I think the majority of people are trying to hand it to Trump.
We'll see. But we know the real.
These are questions. When Obama was coming in, right? Yeah. On the 20, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The ceasefire, when he was leaving or whatever and stuff. I mean, they do this stuff all the time, unfortunately. Yeah. So, I mean, it's one of those things, that's argued all the time,
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we got to break it down because that's what we do here on Top Censored News of the Week.
Fortunately, we're here to bring you Top Censored News of the Week.
All right. So let's get back to a very important topic we've been covering for the last 10, 11, 12 days now, the LA fires. I think, we've done some, you and Fiorella did some great coverage with, we were able to have that discussion. We went to the burn zone, I guess you call it, the disaster area in Altadena. We've had discussions with, we got on Hardlines Media, Kit Cabello. I had a very thoughtful discussion about it with Garland Nixon. So there's people that want to know what's happening right here, right now. And Craig, I know I have to tell the viewers, you made a very awesome video. I want to play that in a second. But first of all, just because the Watch Duty app is where we get all of our access to what's happening in real time. And I want people to know, before we play your video, Craig, I want people to know that the fires have not been contained yet. We still have 2 fires. We still have the Palisades fire, according to Watch Duty app, is only 22% contained. 22%. It's burnt through 23,000 acres, heading on 24,000. And then we have the other one that we covered we went there on the ground a few days ago. The Eaton fire, still not contained. Still, they're more to halfway. They're at 55% containment, has burnt through 14,000 acres. The amount of damage is in the billions here. We have, you can't even fathom the amount of damage. The houses that have gone up in flames, the businesses that have gone up in flames. There's a deep dive of all the corruption and all the nefarious behavior. But I want to pass it to you, Craig, and play the video. This is a very thoughtful breakdown. It gives people a chance to kind of process all of the problems that are happening here, and whether you think it's it's accidental or sloppiness or nefarious behavior for whatever reason. These things need to be talked about. So let's go ahead and play Craig Pasta's video on the LA fires.
Who is to blame for the fires in Los Angeles, and who will we hold accountable? Is it nature, humanity, failed politicians, or something more sinister? Let's unpack this, because the answers are not as simple as pointing to a matchstick. First, the majority of Democrats say we can't ignore climate change, a force that they say is exacerbating droughts, intensifying heat waves, and creating a perfect storm for these fires. Some argue individual negligence, like carelessly tossed cigarettes or unextinguished campfires light the literal spark. We've even seen tweets from prominent right-wing news personalities blaming, you guessed it, illegal aliens. But personal actions are dwarfed by systemic neglect of power companies like PG&E, whose crumbling infrastructure has been directly linked to sparking wildfires. And let's not forget about politicians like Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass, who, despite years of warning about every aspect of potential unnecessary fires, just shrugged their shoulders and passed the blame on to the fellow members of their party. So much for unity. And finally, what about those in the truther community who swear up and down like direct energy weapons from a HARP and geoengineering are the real culprits here? But the important question is, who stands to lose? Well, it's the everyday people. Families displaced, lives uprooted, and communities reduced to ashes. Wildlife, too, faces devastation, habitats destroyed, species pushed closer to extinction. Meanwhile, frontline workers, firefighters, first responders, and even, yes, prisoners put their lives on the line, often underfunded and underappreciated. And who stands to gain? Let's follow the money. Vulture capitalist companies like BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard will most definitely swoop in and snatch up scorched land at bargain prices. Fire insurance, in which companies have already canceled policies months before the storm, will be next to impossible to obtain. Ultimately, the Los Angeles fires reflect a stark divide, a system where profits thrive on peril and those responsible escape the flames, leaving the rest of us to sift through the ashes. It's time to flip the script and demand accountability from the parties responsible. Because if we don't, these fires will keep burning, and not just our forest, but the foundations of our society. And with that being said, who do you think is responsible? That's a good video.
Yeah,
you're a good video. Thank you, Johnny Tsunami. Love you. Who did
really good, man.
On that stuff. Yeah, and he does that like a 24-hour turnaround. If you got a few bucks and you want to spend it, go to Johnny Sue. Just amazing work. Love working with that cat. So yeah.
No, you're setting it all out there. I mean, it's really, how can you get angry at anything you ask, any of those questions you ask? And people get angry. They start talking about you conspiracy theorists, or they say things like, we covered this. I mean, they say things like, what's that go-to one that now's not the time or too soon? Yeah. No, are you effing kidding me? Like, we have to have these discussions like this. If you wait on these things, that's when people get away with stuff. And so we have to look at all. So, I mean, all those things you cover, I mean, they're all important. The water shutting off, specifically the reservoir being bone dry, the Palisades Reservoir. That's why this thing's not contained. That's why it's still at 22%. And we're already a week and a half into this thing. The fire insurance being canceled. Karen Bass cutting off the fire department funding, the $17.6 million. She comes back. She leaves the country, comes back. She goes completely mute. The LAFD chief, Kristen Crowley, actually says out loud, they failed us. So we have people that are turning on each other in leadership positions, which is good. We covered so many of this. I mean, the Trump Newsom thing, that also is so irritating to me, Craig. The way that Trump and Newsom are like, oh, it's don't politicize it, no, this is not a political situation. This is about how has California been failed and why? Who knew about this going into this? And those zoning laws, I think that is the most irritating part. If you want to focus on that part right now, I want to look at that because you had mentioned that that's something that's actually gone through. This isn't just Gavin Newsom trying to meet and see if he can change these laws. They're actually going through. He's actually taking away the opportunity for single family housing to even rebuild, even if they want to and can. He's saying you can't even do that now in these areas. So it's like this. It's so nefarious. And I'm gonna, before your thought, I have to play this because I saw this morning. This is a local anchor from KTLA, local LA, and he is going to tell you in his excited face why this change in zoning is a very, very good thing. He looks very excited, and this is as theater as it gets, Craig. So let me show you. This is how they're trying to justify these zoning changes happening right here.
Interesting element of my conversation with Mr. Giacoletti was when he talked about the possibility of, as we start rebuilding, starting to relax some of the zoning laws, especially in a more working class neighborhood like Altadena, so that rather than putting up single family residences, especially on parcels where people might not have the wherewithal to rebuild at all, we allow developers to start putting up duplexes and apartments. In other words, increasing density, but also increasing more housing.
Have you ever been to Altadena? Okay, so I've had the pleasure, Matt, I've never told you this before, of knocking on doors with Sheriff Villanueva when he was running to be the sheriff, right? It was one of the only guys I voted for that election. I know there's a lot of leftists out there who are not crazy about him. There's a lot of Democrats or whatever that don't like him. But when he was running, before he was taking office, he was the progressive's choice. And I knocked on doors. Altadena is a very interesting area because a lot of people, especially a lot of black people, went to Altadena and bought houses there because they weren't allowed because of redlining in certain areas. So they made that their own community for people who had a few bucks to do so, especially back in the days when the film industry, you could actually buy a house in some of these outer skirts areas and go work in Hollywood. Altadena is a place where there's a lot of black people who lost their houses, right? And now they're going to get hardly anything, right? Pennies on the dollars. They're going to take whatever money they can and run, and they're going to oversaturate that place. This is, once again, like Hawaii, like Maui, a well-managed gentrification. These are the things that the CNC Music Factory song, things that make you go, because Altadena, like I said, it's not everybody was like, oh, it's a where people can live and buy houses. Yeah, but it's a lot of black people there. I mean, at least 3 out of 4 doors we knocked on had a black family there. And it was so intriguing watching Villanueva have conversations with people. I mean, that's why I had so much love for the guy, despite how much stuff he got. And it's like, I think the people who really chastise him, they're going to hate whoever is there anyways, no matter what. That's a different topic in itself. But that's the area that's burnt down. And, whenever I do get a chance to release, if I do, Lahaina on Fire Volume 2, once that dispute is settled, there's a state representative, Ellie Cochran, who's the city, not the city council, it's the state assembly representative for Lahaina. She talks about the zoning laws where they won't allow these families to rebuild on and let them build houses over there. So they can work it in 2 ways. In this particular case, I think it seems like they're in Hawaii, they're trying to force people off the island. And here they're just trying to force people out of that area. And now BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street come in and they put up duplexes and you're paying rent. You have renters instead of homeowners. And that's what they're going to do to Altadena.
Yeah. And when you look at that, so that newscaster, do you see how he spins this? This is what people have to watch out for this when they're watching. They turn on their local news and they think, oh, that's not as bad as CNN. That's not as bad as MSNBC. They're talking to us. We're locals. They know us. This is personal. We're all dealing with this together. Look at the way he talks. He's basically telling his viewers, he's saying, look, we understand that you're poor. We understand that you've lost everything. We understand that it's going to be very hard for you to build back your single family resident. So what Gavin Newsom is doing, he's going to make it illegal for you to do that. Yay! because he anticipates you can't do it anyway. So you're going to have to get an apartment now in a condo. Oh, wait a minute, you can't afford that either. But isn't it nice that they're just planning for your demise? They're doing it in advance. So you guys, they understand your pain. They're literally going to make it illegal for you to do a thing that you're probably not going to be able to do anyway. Yay! That's what I got from that clip. And it's infuriating, Craig, because he's talking to the residents right here. This is very personal. This isn't Anderson Cooper. That's very impersonal what he does. When he comes, he flies in and he does his little theater with Newsom. This is very personal, talking to the viewers that are right there, right in town with KTLA. It pisses me off because I've been there. And you said about that community, Altadena doesn't get the coverage that Palisades gets. Palisades gets the coverage because of the Hollywood influence, because they are tied with the media, and it's more of a extravagant headline that these celebrities are losing their houses. Hollywood Hills, they get the coverage. By the way, the Hollywood Hills houses were put out. The fires were put out. Why were they able to get those ones put out? That's interesting, Craig. Those fires burnt down a lot of houses. Why were they able to get the Sunset Fire out so quickly? It was heading to Hollywood Boulevard. We can't let Hollywood Boulevard burn. We can't let that's our landmark. That's our brand. You got the Kodak Theater. You got Jimmy Kimmel Live. You got the Hollywood Walk of Fame. You got the Hollywood freaking Bowl. That ain't going to be burnt. They make sure of that. So, but again, those are the headlines that make the news, that sell them the viewership, sell them their advertising. Altadena gets screwed. And I'm glad we covered that. And I'm glad you're telling people right now how important it is that we shine light on this. And F you to the local news that isn't being more honest about this and how the state is being captured by these corporatists, and the people are losing everything.
Yeah. I mean, amen. I mean, there's nothing more to say. Look, too, when I laid out that video too, Matt, I just try to lay every single point out. I also want to re-highlight the fact that everybody's point of view out there. I try to leave anybody, the right, the left, the Democrats. I start off with the Democrats say it's climate change. I said the right, says it's like negligence from Newsom and Bass. I said the truthers are talking about direct energy weapons. Some people are saying it's individuals and like illegal immigrants. So I try to put everything in there so we have these conversations. And I think that's how I'm going to attack things moving forward. And that's why I've been enjoying doing these shows with you so much, because we do make sure we cover all bases out there. We don't play team sports at all, ever. We might have our own opinions, but we make sure that we list and we put out all the information out there. And I think it's really important that you pointed out that the Hollywood fires got put out, but the Altadena fires burnt down.
No, totally.
Yeah.
Well, one last point on this before we move on, because we're going to be bringing in our next guest with us. We have some stuff to get into there. But listen, the water thing has not been worked out. Gavin Newsom got to deflect that and blame Trump for. I don't know how he spun that one. Trump lied about the reservoirs because he didn't mention the correct one. He didn't say it was Palisades. He said it was another one. So Newsom's angry that Trump said the wrong reservoir, that it was the Palisades one that was bone dry. It's like, are you kidding me? That fire is still going right now as we speak, and that reservoir was gone. So this meme came up, and I know it's kind of haha funny. Sometimes we have to laugh at this, but we put this up on Tuesday. I'll put it up again. This is how people can help. We need help. We need water. We need water now. So if you guys can go ahead and grab an envelope, put some water in it, make sure you postmark it, put a stamp on, and send it to California, and then just put a little love heart in your name so we know that it comes from you. First name's fine, and we'll know it came from you. Thank you guys so much. It'll come here to California. We need the water as much as we can get. Thank you so much, everybody helping out there.
That's the thing too, as well. I don't believe that we need the water. I believe that the water is being mismanaged on purpose. That's it. It's coming from the aqueduct. Is coming, and I've seen the aqueduct. I've been in Palmdale before and seen it. It's mad water flowing down. It's a series of canals, rivers, lakes, whatnot. It's coming from northern friggin' Nevada. Okay, it's wet and cold and rainy and snowy up there. What they're doing with the water, and this is once again the Resnicks that we talked about, a Zionist family that controls the majority of water out there, and along with the other vulture capitalist companies that I mentioned before, they're making sure that they create scarcity. Because if they do that, right, then therefore they can profit off it more. If it's ever flowing and there's plenty of it, then no problem. We can't make money off that. It's like once you create scarcity, you create value. And that's what they're doing. That's the whole point of learning about Bitcoin is about. right? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
As opposed to the Fed that can just produce a bunch of money, and that's why there's so much inflation, because your dollar's not worth as much as before because they produce it. Well, they don't want to produce that water because they want to make money off of it.
Yep. All right.
Corruption.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, let's go ahead and take a 2-minute, and we'll be right back with our next guest, Don DeBar. Okay. We are back. Some more homeless left action for you guys today. We're going to get into more about this ceasefire situation with our next guest. Guys, we know him, we love him. You know him, you love him. He is a friend of the show, independent journalist, telling the story for us that we need to hear, the truth, the real raw deal, no holds bar. Let's bring him back in with us, Don DeBar.
Yeah, I know him. I'm not sure or not, but he's all right. What's up, guys? How are you?
Hey, good. Don, you made it to DC, huh?
Yes, we did. We got here yesterday, and we're kind of glamping in a friend's apartment. She's living out of the country. Her son and daughter-in-law and their family were here for a couple of years and bought their own place a few months ago. It's sort of what they call in the real estate business broom clean. And so Margot and I and Gary and a friend of his are here, and we have our blow-up mattresses and folding tables and portable lamps and stocked refrigerator and bar, and we're good to go.
Boots on the ground, baby. Don DeBar style.
That's right.
We love it.
So we just took a ride around DC for the first time since I got here, looking at the prep for Sunday for the inauguration. The Capitol building has like mega flags hanging from it. I've never seen anything. And you know, all those buildings that whatever the hell kind of stone that is, that looks so kind of almost monochromatic when you look at it against the gray sky. The color in these banners is shocking, literally. They drove by the Capitol. They're testing out the sound system. They got music echoing back and forth. There's cops everywhere. Every kind of cop you ever saw. White cars, blue cars, marked cars, unmarked cars. Cops wearing tons of ammunition and bazookas and stuff. Cops walking around in trench coats and everything in between.
Wow. So
it's going to be a party.
Now you covered this for our the last Trump inauguration 8 years ago. Do you remember? Is it any different than that? Same, or is it something a little odd in the air? What do you think? Is there anything unique about this experience versus?
Well, the conditions are different. First of all, you'll recall nobody took it seriously, and although they had been complaining about Russian influence during the course of the election, if you recall, for example, when Hillary Clinton was being interviewed with one of the knuckleheads at NBC, she said something like to the effect that if Trump were elected, it would be Christmas in the Kremlin. That the documents that were leaked showing criminal activity on the part of herself and the DNC was the result of Russian spies leaking it. They didn't really get rolling on that until after the election, when everybody had to explain how this thing that was supposed to be a cakewalk ended up being an embarrassment. So the environment in which that took place was more one of shock than anything, and to the extent that people were saying then, in my opinion, one of them, by the way, but in my opinion, even then correctly, that what we had witnessed is a rejection of the existing order, that what the Democrats had been offering, which was more or less the same as the Republicans had been offering since at least maybe since 1986 or 1990, maybe or 92, maybe even back since 1968 or 1976, that people were just fed up with the consensus that was running the government and the way it was involved in permanent warfare, in a rollback of services, increased taxes, all these problems that people were rejecting it in the whole. That was, people reading correctly what was happening at the time that saw Trump could win. That was the basis of it. This time, everybody understands that's what they saw. They had every excuse in the world why that wasn't true last time, and they tried every trick in the book this time to steal it, indicting him, convicting him, shooting at him, and everything else. And he had a bigger turnout, the largest, actually, victory, I think, in the history of presidential elections. So the mood is different, and I think there's a tension between Trump and, more importantly, those who supported him or in general are rejecting the existing order, and of course the troops of the existing order, who, by the way, are being deployed under the present regime, no, the outgoing regime, from the president to the speaker to the mayor of DC, whatever the hell else they have for District of Columbia governance, and so there's tension there. I didn't have to see that. I know it's there. It's institutional tension, and it's the kind of tension that exists between the old regime and the people in the street.
So Don, is there any concern at all that there's going to be some sort of extra security needed for Trump? That there's these threats? If there are threats, are they coming from these like random people that aren't affiliated with anything higher up, or do you think there's something else going on there, like we saw back in last summer with that first assassination attempt that seemed very shady? It seemed like a lot of stuff was going on there as far as there's like some infiltration within his own team. Do we not have that anymore? Or are you feeling that might be something we might be looking at? Or is there something to be said about the woke protests that might be aligning together out there? Is there anything to be looking at in those two camps right now?
Yeah, I mean, look, in a very real sense, look, you got to parse something else, which I can't. And nobody can really. All the things that, I've said this a million times. You guys know exactly what I mean. all of the things that we think we know, we've come by through virtual means. You know, I'm not with Trump, and even if I were, I'm not with him like, you know, deep in the night when he's, you know, bearing his soul or whatever. So I have no idea what he actually intends. I do know things about him that we all know, which is he's a master of public relations and a master of taking whatever is out there and trying to own it and position the good that comes out of it as being his doing. So, you know, that's something that I have to consider as possible, even when I think I'm seeing something else. If he really intends to do what he promised, it's an existential threat to the existing order. And the existing order has more weapons of every type, from intelligence, as in information gathering, not as in smarts, from intelligence to you know, the nuclear weapons. So should he be nervous? Well, if he really intends to change anything, he ought to be hiding under a rock somewhere, because they're coming for him. Now, the other thing is, let's say he does intend to change things and he makes it to January 20th. Does being president of the United States actually put in your hands sufficient power to protect yourself against that? If they're coming after you, whoever the hell they actually are, I mean, we don't have a list of their names. We know some of the corporations that do a lot of their acting around the world. And we know some of the government officials that do their bidding around the world, including here in the United States particularly. But the actual, who's that Dr. Evil guy sitting, you know, behind the curtain or whatever that pulls all the strings if such a person exists, or if she exists in the body of, you know, 50 or 100 people. Who they are, we don't know. But if that thing, that entity, is you know, really being threatened by Trump, whether he knows that's who he's threatening because he knows how to do it, or just I'm going to get this done by hook or by crook, damn it. They are very well positioned to take him out in any number of ways, including with their ownership of the media, despite the contradictions there, to turn the very people who would benefit from this and who lifted him against him. You know, 2 or 3 little scandals where people are willing to say, see, I knew he was full of garbage. I know he was always a billionaire, creep, whatever, and let's get him. You know, it's hard to know what to do other than to observe and, you know, try to parse what you're looking at, and then poke it once in a while and see how it responds.
So my question to you is, Don, while we keep this conversation going, I'm very desperate to get into the next conversation because I'm dying to hear what you think about the ceasefire. But my question to you is this time is that I'm a little bit confused on what does Donald Trump intend to change that will go against the power structure this time, because himself has come out, number one, the first appointee he had that was hold on a second, was Keith Kellogg, who was a anti-Russian, you know, pro-Ukrainian, let's support them to the last Ukrainian general that he appointed. And then he went from saying that I'll end it in 24 hours to, if Putin doesn't come to the table, we'll end it in 100 days. We'll give them, in fact, they'll say we'll give the Kiev regime weapons. Then he goes and he taps and he supports Mike Johnson, who's strictly against our civil liberties, who's supporting Section 702 of the FISA court warrants. And Donald Trump sanctioned Mike Johnson. And then we had the whole HB1 visa situation where he was on tape 2016. Again, and I would argue that just like Bernie Sanders, 2016, Bernie Sanders was a different candidate than 2020. 2016, he was all about the working class. 2020, he was all about Donald Trump is the most racist, sexist, misogynist president of all time. You could say the same thing for Donald Trump. Everything that he stood for. We don't hear talks about the deep state anymore. We don't hear talks about getting rid of NATO. So what does where is he really a threat to the power structure in your mind this time around?
Well, so actually, some of that stuff, I don't know if you noticed, there were actually some very strong statements about pulling out of NATO, like in the last couple of days. Look, you could even go further. You know, we've been to Cuba, okay, and you had Obama waiting 7 years and 11 months and 29 days and 8 minutes, I think, or something, to roll back some tiny bit of the sanctions against that country, and none of the material ones. And then you had, Trump did the undid on paper some of that, and then imposed some other additional misery on the people of Cuba. And then Biden complained about it and left it all standing, and as a matter of fact, now is rolling back a little bit, 6 days before. And you've got, on the other hand, Trump appointing Marco Rubio to be Secretary of State, who is, a Batistist, to be gentle. He's a fascist, obviously. And so, he appointed John Bolton last time. There are other things too. These things are riddled with contradictions. And see, I would start with this. And again, I'm tea leaf reading, just like anybody else is, whether they consider themselves doing that or not. Everybody we're hearing from, everybody we're talking to, they're tea leaf reading just like we are. Their information comes to them virtually. We have no idea how reliable it is. The things that are deductions or deductions from virtual information, it doesn't firm it up. Okay, so I'm looking at the following things and making my own deductions. One is the fact that Trump, with Bolton and others, left Nicaragua standing and left Cuba standing. The interesting thing about Bolton was he and Abrams, and there was another one, they were basically finished after Trump gave them free rein to do what they were going to do, because they showed themselves to be so ridiculous, so out of step with reality. Juan Guaido, I don't really need to go beyond that. I mean, he basically gave them enough rope to hang themselves. These were a threat to him, these people, from the right. They were liked by part of the coalition of groups, some of the cohorts that helped get him elected, in the same way that Rubio did in helping him get Florida. What he actually intends to do may be evident by that appointment, and it may be something entirely different. I don't know that yet. That's my point. And it's the same with, there was another one. The defense guy, what's it? Whatever that was name.
Peter Hesketh? You're not talking about Peter Hesketh tomorrow. Yeah, because, and your guy Marco Rubio did point out that this administration should be the most Zionist administration in history, right? So please.
They're all doing that. Everybody in Washington is doing that. Yeah. Bobby Kennedy is doing that. Marco Rubio is doing that. The whole lot of them. I don't know who's not. Barbara Lee wants to be mayor of San Francisco. I don't hear from her on this. So my point is that you can't really tea leaf read yet based on these appointments. You can certainly oppose them on the merits, and you can also certainly say, look, we're looking at what you said you were going to do, and this is what we're seeing you do so far, and it does not inspire confidence. And if you want any support here, you better start doing some of the things you promised rather than indicating the contrary. I think that would be the most useful kind of intercourse to have with the administration from people that have something to say that they'll listen to. Bobby Kennedy being head of HHS, I would rather he was being appointed to head the CIA or the Pentagon. I think, though, that I'm going to find it interesting watching what happens over there. He went in, basically, his big argument when he campaigned for president, and in general in the political sphere, is that the federal agencies have been captured by the industries they're supposed to police. And the result has been a catastrophe for the people, no matter which sphere of their lives these entities operate in, whether it's excuse me, it's pharmaceuticals, in which case our health is shot, food, we're obese and malnourished, across the board. Our intelligence agencies, their job is to manufacture war so that the money cash flow to the arms makers continues, et cetera, et cetera. He's going to have a stage, and because of what just happened with this, the whole COVID and the alleged vaccine and all of that, the very wary eye from the public placed on what happens there. I think if one were to try to make the case solid to a large number of people that he's been trying to make since he started his involvement in politics, although again, I prefer him at Langley or the Pentagon or whatever, he's well poised at that place to do it. And so if he really intends to do all that, we're going to see it happen, or a very solid effort at that, at stirring a very angry response.
Yeah.
I'm watching that. I'm going to watch the Pentagon guy. All right. Look, February 6th, 2002, Cynthia McKinney had Donald Rumsfeld in a hearing in Congress under oath, and asked him a question that there was $2 or $3 trillion missing. I can't recall which. $2 or $3 trillion missing. Do you know where it is? No, I don't. Well, why not? Well, we just don't know what happened to it. Why? Because our computers don't talk to each other. Who has the contract for that? So-and-so, I forget who. Do they still have the contract for that? Yes. Are you reviewing that and attempting to get someone in who will get the computers to talk to each other so we can find the $2 or $3 trillion? Well, no, but I'll send you a report about that. That's 2002. That's 23 years ago, like in 2 weeks.
That was September 10th, or no?
No, it was February 6th. No, February 6th, 2002.
No, Don, I think Pasha mentioned the September 10th reference because we knew that that was the Rumsfeld money that was missing the day before 9/11.
Yeah, no. My point. I get that, but I'm making a different point.
Okay, about 2002 is what you're talking about.
The point is that 23 years have told since then. And we've had the Iraq War, the Libya War, the Syria War, the Ukraine War, on top of the condition that we were in 2002. And so if it was $2 or $3 trillion then, we're talking now many trillions of dollars. And that has been this guy's pet peeve.
Who?
This
Trump?
guy, no, Pete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not an anti-war guy. He's not an anti-war.
No. But he's a where did the $6 or $8 trillion go guy. Look, now suddenly Trump says that's what he wants to know. Fine, you're Secretary of Defense. I want to see where that goes before I decide anything else. I don't care who we slept with. I don't care about any other crap. What is most interesting to me about it, and you can take that also to the hearings with Tulsi Gabbard when that happens, and with all the others, the conversation in front of the Senate committee was not about the missing trillions of dollars in the Pentagon while they're reviewing the guy who's going to take the job of running the Pentagon. They're worried about where he stuck Pete Jr. and when and how much he had to drink. So I'm trying to show you this is the value of the entire scene that you're looking at with respect to these cabinet appointees. They're not the essence. They're form. They're appearance.
Don, I think you're trying to make lemonade out of lemons. Even Tulsi Gabbard. I think Tulsi Gabbard, even going back on 702, really the only appointee that matters to me right now that I think is worthy of anything is RFK. Despite his Zionism, getting in his HHS, I want to see what he's going to do, but I don't believe he'll get confirmed. That's just my opinion. They haven't had a date set for that yet.
That should tell you something.
Yeah.
That should tell you something.
Look,
that he's the only guy that won't get confirmed.
Well,
That's
it tells us that he's actually somebody that was actually planning to do something productive in his job, where the rest of them are.
That's what it would say to me too. Yeah.
Right. So that kind
but
of.
The rest of them, as they get in, we see what they do. I mean, watch the hands.
We'll watch closely. We know you're going to watch closely, Don, every day of this. But let's just, before we move on to this, I want to definitely get on to the ceasefire situation going on. I'll do that in quotes. The ceasefire situation.
Thank you. Air quotes.
Yeah, right. The air quotes. But we'll just get one last thought on Monday. What are your predictions? Does everything go smooth, or does something go wrong? If something goes wrong, where is that going to come from? This is just speculation at this point. This is not news. This is just speculation, because we're curious where you think what your thoughts are, being that you're right there right now, Don.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So either he gets inaugurated or he doesn't, and takes office. And then, of course, going from, giving the oath, making his way to the White House, and then up and down the stairs every day, or whatever the hell he's got to do to get to work. Who knows what he's going to encounter where? In the hallway, soaring through the air, taking his other ear, who knows what.
Yeah.
I know that an awful lot of effort went into keeping him from winning the presidency. I'm talking about like the corralling, the gathering and operation and management of a bunch of different lawsuits involving the Attorney General of New York and federal prosecutors in different jurisdictions, and pulling out, reviewing his businesses, going back 20 years, looking for things like, oh, you forgot to carry over the interest on Schedule C6 on this return. It's $18. That's something substantial. A whole lot of effort went into making those cases. A tremendous amount of effort went into making that stuff consumable in the media and bringing it to people. The entire effort that it must have taken to hold up Joe Biden as being, of sound mind, just so they could keep Trump out of the Oval Office. It tells you somebody in position to maneuver the instruments of power doesn't want to see him take office. And I don't know where they are today. I don't know if they're in town. I don't know if they're directing all that police activity we just saw by the Capitol building. I don't know if they're wearing a police uniform like, somebody in a Clint Eastwood movie or something, just sitting on top of some little rooftop nearby, waiting for him to show up. Who knows what the hell is going to happen? I won't make any predictions. I don't believe in that crap anyway, but I just know that either this is a really well-produced, very, very elaborate, can I use the word shit show?
Yeah.
Okay. That, in fact, he is there as their puppet to prevent someone who would actually do the things he's talking about from being there instead. Either that's the case, and they, support it with all of the things that they did to him, criminal convictions, shooting him in the ear, blah, blah. Or somebody with a lot of power really doesn't want him in there. I guess it's going to be evident because, there's also this. Of course, if it is that somebody with a lot of power doesn't want him in there, it may be because they think he's going to do this stuff that's bad for them, but he doesn't intend to. Or it may be that he intends to, and somehow he changes his mind. Either they dissuade him or they pay him or whatever. In which case, even if all this stuff was real, the hostility, the antipathy, the fear, whatever, that did motivate them, and they did this stuff to keep him out, and he gets in, it doesn't mean he's actually going to do anything anyway. But it might. If he does that stuff, then we'll look back on all this and say, well, that's what it was, I guess.
But Meredith, right? Burgess Meredith, the guy who played Mickey in
Yeah.
Rocky, was also in this movie Grumpier Old Men, the first and the
Yeah.
second one. And there was
Yeah.
a scene, he goes, I got my shop, and he throws down bacon. He goes, Pa, Jack Lemmon goes, Pa, I really wish you'd go for the low sodium. He goes, well, you can wish in one hand and crap in the other and see which one gets killed first. You know, through Cynthia McKinney, our elections are garbage. And if they didn't want him in, they wouldn't have had him in. They cheated Carrie Lake out of her seat, right? Because they easily had the mechanism in those states I talked about. It was Arizona again. So that just tells me everything I need to see in the way Donald Trump. I believe he has the same mentality. And I'll give it to you right now, Matt, just really quickly. He exists the same reason why Bernie Sanders existed. To sheep herd people back into the Democratic Party, and Donald Trump is sheep herded people back into the Republican Party. End of story.
100%. He's a little tougher version than Bernie the whole time, and this is the cardboard cutout version, just like you said. I agree with that. But if Bernie had made it, we'd also have to be worried about what they do to him. If he had been a little tougher, we would have been the ones. We talked about this. We would have been the ones on January 6th that they arrested, because that's what they do. Even the slightest 1% chance that they're going to go against the 100%. People in line, the Obamas, the Hillarys, the Bushes and Cheneys, the fact that they were even 1% going to challenge that, they have to be looking over their shoulder, as I think Trump is rightfully so doing right now, even if he's only 1% challenging the oligarchy, which and he might be zero, but even if that's that chance, we'll keep an eye on things. We appreciate that, Don, that thoughtful feedback on everything there. We're going to watch this closely in the next coming days here. Let's go on to.
Wait, before you go,
go for it.
I'm sitting here. I was remembering that same movie with Burgess Meredith when he was in the supermarket going through the produce department.
Yeah.
Anyway, so go ahead. Let's hit the other
When
one.
he grabs the cucumber. Yeah.
All right. Okay, ceasefire deal. We have Trump's envoy. I'll throw this up again. Goes to meet with Netanyahu. There's this big theatrical story about how it was Stephen Witkoff goes and forces Netanyahu into a meeting where he's going to take this deal and everything's a-okay because Trump saved the day. Meanwhile, Biden goes and takes full credit for it. So now we've pit people against each other on who gets the real credit. But then we come to find out, as those of us who've been following all of the fake ceasefires from the past, according to Hotspot, this is Hotspot saying Israeli media is reporting Trump actually promised Netanyahu he would support Israel retroactively when they break the Gaza ceasefire and restart the war after signing the deal. It also included a gift bag offer of benefits, such as lifting sanctions on Israel's Pegasus spyware, as well as the IDF soldiers accused of war crimes. And then, of course, we find out, according to Al Jazeera English, and this is the big kicker, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said this cabinet will not meet as scheduled to approve the Gaza ceasefire deal, blaming Hamas for causing a last-minute crisis. And this is why we knew the whole time and why I tweeted out, anyone following the illegal occupation and genocide of the Palestinian people, plus all the broken ceasefire deals by Israel thus far, could have predicted this was going to happen next. Shaking my head. I will pass it over to you, Don DeBar. What are your thoughts on this major divide that Craig and I figured out? There's like three different camps maybe going at each other right now. What is your thoughts?
Put the poll up, though. Put the poll up.
Do you have it?
It's up there. Put the poll up. We had a quick poll. We said who's going to give credit for this, and I've seen more people give Donald Trump credit for this. This is 79 votes just into it. Who do you credit for the ceasefire that Israel won't honor? Right? Because I believe it's not a ceasefire. It's just a pause. They always do that all the time. Even Barack Obama got one. 69.6% believe that Trump gets the credit. 6.3 for Biden, even though Biden kind of smirked and said, is that a funny question? Like, he got the ceasefire. The pro-Palestinian supporters like the PSL who are patting themselves on the back. But the one I would vote for, which is the anti-Zionist MAGA folk, and I have that other video. You can take it down now, Matt. I have that other video showing you that when Donald Trump put stuff on Truth Social saying who's the worst, America's worst enemy, overwhelmingly on Truth Social, his MAGA folk, it's in the private chat. If you ever want to play it, they say Israel. And like you said, he's a master, Don. You said he's a master of understanding, of reading the room, of manipulating the situation, taking advantage of a crisis or whatever, or co-opting it, whatever you want to say, his handlers or him know that they're getting pushback from MAGA folk. So they had to pull this theatrics to make it look like Donald Trump is doing something, and it all started with retweeting Jeffrey Sachs' tweet. It's bullstein, because at the end of the day, all the killing and looting, guess what? They're not going to pay for their war crimes, as they said in this ceasefire. And guess what? Everything they looted, they get to keep. This is theatrics to me, Don. Go ahead.
Yeah, what are we talking about here, first of all, when we say ceasefire? Yeah. It's like, the U.S. Air Force agreed to a ceasefire in Nagasaki the day after they dropped the bomb. Gaza, there's a ceasefire in Gaza because there's nothing left to bomb and nobody left to blow up. They've been herded from one corner to another. A mobile, sort of confined mobile, refugee clique, homeless, and the land is more or less being set up for redevelopment. There were ads we saw a year ago in some of the newspapers in Israel, where they were planning to build luxury condominium, weekend homes.
Jared Kushner, right, Don?
Yeah. So, yeah, people close to Trump like that and elsewhere. More. First of all, if they stop shooting at each other for a while, that's going to be in essence a resupply, rearm, retrain, re-up. It's going to be like the Minsk Accords. It's going to be, at best, if it lasts that long. Doing these deals with Israel. I mean, go back, if you Google Gaza's ceasefire and use a select date range. So for the last date in the date range, put the 2020. So before this whole thing, before October 7th, all of that, you'll see going back, 2008, Gaza ceasefire during the presidential election and in the interregnum between that and Obama being sworn in. Remember the two presidents at one time, the one president at one time? Begging Israel for a ceasefire in Gaza. In other words, Israel, will you stop blowing up Gaza for a couple of minutes while we talk about what do you want to stop blowing it up? They'll say, okay, sure. And whatever it is they want the other side to do, they start to do it. And then Israel starts blowing them up again. Hospitals, schools, roads, water supply, electrical grid, whatever, houses. This is what's being discussed in these conversations about who gets credit, who gets blame, etc. The thing itself is like it's not even deck chairs on the Titanic. It's like polishing a deck chair on the Titanic now, 100 years after it sank.
On the bottom.
Yeah. I think that there's a few things that have to take place, and it's difficult to imagine when the international situation will be configured in a way that war crimes prosecutions can be brought against people that commit war crimes on a scale like this. There are very few nations, individuals, groups that can get away with a massive war crime like bombing a country into oblivion over a period of 2 years or whatever the hell it's been, a year and a half. Always that country, however, is an ally of the United States or the United States itself. No one else has the military capacity to do that, and the political standing in the world, in terms of geopolitical power, to operate in the world in the midst of doing that. If you look at what was done to the Soviet Union after the so-called invasion of Afghanistan, when they went in to occupy Kabul to protect it, and the government there, at their request, from the army of terrorists that Zbigniew Brzezinski had organized in the countryside. Look at they turned the Soviet Union into an international pariah within months. Basically shut it down. It's global commerce, everything. And that was the Soviet Union. Who else is going to deal with Israel? at any scale like that. Now, you've got an outstanding indictment at the ICC for Benjamin Netanyahu. Interestingly, one of the political developments in Israel is that on the right-wing side, on the people who are the most aggressive, are going to, and his partners in the coalition government are threatening to and may well pull out of the coalition if this agreement is signed, which it isn't yet, by the way. Everybody's talking about it like a done deal, but it's not.
It's not. It's
tomorrow.
not.
It's going to the Knesset tomorrow, and you also have the military has to sign off on it and others. If it goes through, they're yanking the support from Netanyahu, and he won't be prime minister, which means he won't be immune to criminal prosecution, which is going to be an interesting political condition for him with the ICC warrant, and for Israel also, since I assume he's going to be criminally prosecuted for the outstanding, indictments against him for, various corruption charges over the term of his being prime minister. And so if he's officially in the custody of the state of Israel, as opposed to being the, unreachable penultimate government official, I'd like to see how they relate to a warrant from The Hague or some other court order to deliver him on that. But outside of that, the discussion around the terms of a ceasefire are absurd. And anyone laying claim to that, you have to buy the whole banana. If you had the power before you became president to declare a ceasefire there, then you should have done it October 8th of 2023. Yeah. But, if your priority is to be elected president instead of to stop a slaughter, well, own that.
Yeah. Well, look, let's get back to the human element of it, because I think it's easy for us because, as analyzing this and stepping outside of the emotional part of this, reminding people that we've been watching this genocide unfold in the palm of our hands every single day. We know that the world has been loaded in the streets with people for the rights of Palestine to not be murdered and wiped off the face of the planet. This is a voice echoing around the globe, and it's been like that for several months. So when we see this deal go down, let's get out of analytical mode for a second, and I'm gonna show you guys this is a celebration in the streets of Palestine, and this is the type of thing that pulls at the heartstrings and makes us want to believe. This is where some sort of faith. I think this isn't stupidity. This isn't like, hey, you guys aren't paying attention. This is what happens when the human soul is crushed so hard that even an ounce of a possibility that the suffering will stop will cause this. And this is a celebration, and this is real. This is really happening right now. And so when I watch that, and I know, and I've seen responses to this type, and this isn't the only video out there. You guys can see these celebrations happening right now. And, people like, Caitlin Johnstone are commenting on this and saying, I really want to believe this. I really do. And this is somebody, Caitlin is just an example of somebody who's been on this the whole way, understanding the grandness of the empire and how the vastness of their ability to beat us at any point, that there's no hope. There's never been any hope. And she's been very real about that. And then you see these celebrations and you go, wait a minute, just wait a minute. Is this a time that we can at least get some hope to keep us alive so we don't lose all of our humanity? Because we've gone so desensitized for months and months and months, and we just can't take it anymore. Can we at least pretend that Santa Claus is coming down the chimney tomorrow with some presents for us? Is that okay to allow them that space to have this right now? Or are we just going through another letdown that's going to be even more difficult to deal with when we realize that it's not anything? And I know I'm just kind of doing a philosophical thing here, but you guys, remember, these are human beings. This is a human story. This isn't just us looking at graphs and numbers and patterns of behavior, leading up to
absolutely. But I'll let Don answer first, and then I'll give my opinion about this after.
I mean, first, the reality is these kids, for example, and whoever else is in the crowd there, these are people that have been, hearing noise in the sky and watching things fall and blow up around them for, since October 10th of 2023. I don't know, what are we now? 4 months, so it's like 16 months.
Yeah.
Tomorrow it might not rain bombs. Yay! And what the hell else is the response going to be? I can completely relate to that. When you're doing a political assessment of it, however, or a legal assessment of it, the fact is that the bombs did rain down from October 8th or 9th or 10th or whatever, and they killed probably 150,000 people, more than 100,000 people at this point, civilians, and 50, 60,000 children out of that. Destroyed the city, destroyed the ability to live in the city. Its entire infrastructure is shungad. The hospitals are gone. The water supply, sewer systems are gone. The electrical grid is gone. The housing units are gone. It's a nightmare. Somebody did that. That was the infrastructure that was constructed over the centuries to support the 2.5 million people that lived there. And that is, you got the 70 something years since 1948, where people started being packed into that area from the other parts of Palestine that they were being evicted from. So, there's a long history of pain and suffering that's been imposed, just like one step after another. Starting with terrorist attacks against civilians to scare them out of their villages in Palestine, to across the country and to smaller and smaller enclaves, and finally into since the 67 war or later, the 70s, into that strip. It's been described for decades or two now as the world's largest open outdoor prison camp.
Yep.
And then that gets bombed for a year and a half. Yeah. And these are the survivors standing on the land that'll still hold them. If it's going to stop today, hooray! Of course, you understand that.
Yeah, I think it's more to it than that too, as well. If you can throw me in the big screen, guys. I think one of the big things, the message that's being sent to as well, is that they took on this empire, right? Like, these are the people who stayed there. These are the people who fought. I think a lot of them people, Matt and Don, that they know, even the children, that this isn't over now. This is a pause. They're going to come at it again. And they want to show the Israeli regime that no matter what they try to do, they're still here. Yeah. Right? That we're still standing. We're still strong. And we're coming back. And something to kind of understand, when you see these young children, dancing, a lot of these children, they've lost loved ones, family ones, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, the whole 9 yards. And now Hamas has been able to recruit them to come in and fight against the Israeli regime that is coming back. So they're also trying to send the message. And believe you me, just because the population itself has been decimated, the celebrations, I believe in 2014, the first time they had that war and that invasion of Gaza, and there was a lot more people in the streets than there were now. But they're not there just to celebrate thinking this is over. They're not naive. They're sending a message. And that message is that we're going to sit here, we're going to stand, we're going to fight. You're not going to run us off. We're here. And that's what they wanted, that message they want to send when they get out in the street. They're not as naive as you think they have. And they have every right to celebrate. They do.
Yeah,
not us. Not us.
I don't think they're naive at all. I don't think they're naive.
At all. They know
the children, but even the children, they're probably the least naive children on the planet at this moment.
Yeah.
But, right. They've had the naivety blown out of their lives. I think I just don't want to take too much pleasure out of, thank you for reifying my faith in the resilience of human spirit. I think what I want people to take home from that is, God damn it, get off your ass and put an end to this, because that's what they need us to do.
Yeah.
They're standing in there to fight. I think the only value they're showing us that has is to show us it can be done, so we do it too.
Well, You know, Don, I do have that video. It's a quick 1-minute video, Matt. If you can bring it up and let me play it real quick, because I think you're right. What do we have to do? And this is why I'm so critical of leftists that are celebrating Donald Trump and acting as if the Palestinian people, like Hamas won this. Like, no, this battle is far from over. It's still going on. And yes, you have to give some love for Hamas doing what they're doing as far as fighting off the empire. But once again, I want to play this video because I think it points out the fact that a lot of people on the left think that a lot of MAGA folk are completely naive about what's going on. Just watch this video, and this will tell you who, in my mind, who pushed this rhetoric, this kabuki theater, for Donald Trump to make this move.
This is interesting and a little bit funny. Donald Trump has a social media site where he does polls, and it's interesting to see which way Donald Trump supporters vote and what they really think and feel. What is the biggest threat by far to freedom in America? 5% said Russia, 25% said radical Islam, and 67% said other. 2/3 of Donald Trump supporters said other. Well, who is the other? Here's a screenshot of most people's answers right there. And I took a screenshot of the nice ones. A lot of Trump supporters said the same thing, just less politely worded. And here's another one. Who is the worst enemy to America? 6% of Trump supporters said Russia, 27% said the Panda Bears, 12% said Iran, and 55% said other. That's more than half of Trump supporters. But now who is the other? Here's a screenshot. And again, I took a screenshot of the more politely worded ones. I was telling about this polling that right wing and left wing polling data shows to perceive the same enemy. So the division is not horizontal anymore, left wing, right wing. It's bottom versus top, people versus government. And that's a good thing. We want right wing and left wing on our side. And it's also telling that Trump knew the answer to this, but did not take these polls down.
Wow. Right? So right now, I think this is why I've been critical of leftists who are out there celebrating and promoting Trump, even Glenn Greenwald, right? And there's a few other of them I mentioned out there. No, that's BS. This is kabuki theater. The ceasefire is not a ceasefire. They never ceased to fire, never since to stop firing. It's since 1946. This has been going on. It's just a pause. Right now, if we have a lot of MAGA folk, and I said this before, I never thought in my whole life, Don, Matt, that I would not support and love Bernie Sanders. He was so on the top of the hill for me. Tulsi Gabbard, too, as well. And it's almost sad to see the way Bernie Sanders has fallen, right, because he capitulated to power. The more Donald Trump continues to lie to his base, the more he deceives them. And this is what he's doing right now. And that's how they feel. A lot of them, they came out about the HB1 visas. They felt like, Donald, what are you doing? You're going back on your word. Wait, Ukraine, you're going back on the word. The more they do this, the quicker it will be to abandon him. And we have something to play off right here where even his folk are saying, no more with the Zionist regime. I think that's the opportunity. So we have to be true to our words and point out this kabuki theater we see in front of us and stay focused on the topic of how the Zionists run our country regardless of who's at the top of the ticket.
Man, that's we're gonna clip that one, Craig. We're gonna put that out there. We're gonna do that as soon as we can. There it is. You summed it all up. I 100% with you, Craig. And I like we start from Bernie because we know we have to educate our fellow MAGA friends. We have to educate our fellow. I guess you also call them the Make America Healthy Again people because these are good people that want something to happen because they believe it can happen. We've been there. We've done that. We have to share with them our experience of how the person we thought could lead us completely failed us. And we have to tell them, and now is the time to hold that person accountable, hold that thing accountable, because that's all you can do right now. That's the only thing we have. As of Monday, that's 4 days from now, that's all we're going to have is that thing that we have to do everything we can to hold that thing accountable. Or what do we have? We have nothing.
Yeah. Don, we've had him for an hour, Matt. You've got any last questions for the man? He needs to get his rest. He's got a lot of work to do. Yeah. Don, I don't know what you're doing Monday or Tuesday, but make sure you come circle the wagons with either Matt or I, and Fee wants to talk to you. See if you can look up San Husseini, make sure he's okay. He got dragged out of the whole thing today, him and Max Blumenthal. It was kind of a sight to see. But
where at State
Department, they got dragged out.
I'll check with him.
They did the Jose Vega thing.
That's great.
Yeah, we're gonna cover it later, so you can watch it on replay when we do it.
Jamie wants to meet up with you, by the way. He wants to go to those parties with you on Sunday. He's in town, so.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Call me. Tell him to call me. I'm telling myself now. Yeah.
Awesome. The great Don DeBar. Thanks for checking in with us in Washington, D.C.
Thank you, guys.
Going with you.
I'll see you around.
Awesome.
We'll see you soon, Gumba.
Yep.
Peace out. Don DeBar, ladies and gentlemen. We love him. Meatballs and Chianti. That's what my man brings me.
I love it.
Meatballs and Chianti. But that was a pretty good last segment there, right? When I told you, that's why I would vote for, in my poll, the anti-Zionist MAGA folk. I'm tipping my hat off. And sometimes they go a little bit too far. They could be classified as anti-Semitic, but those guys like Stu Peters, like what's his name? I keep forgetting his name. The ex-military guy that they go after him, and I was very critical of these guys, like Sneeko, Myron Gaines, like Candace Owens.
Yeah, Candace Owens.
Like all these people who pushed back and said, no way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think they made a lot of younger anti-Zionist Trump folks speak up. And that's why he has to do this here. But he's full of shit. And once they realize that, I mean, the HB1 visas was so telling. You have a video of him in 2015, 2016 talking against it, right? As he's on the campaign trail. And then go, I love the visas. The visas are great now. I mean, right? Clark Kellogg, the freaking special envoy, he wants to continue wars. What happened to end it in 24 hours? Yeah. Oh, you're going to push Mike Johnson, who's going along with freaking what's the word? Warrantless freaking spy wiretaps? You're going along with that stuff? No. They're going to turn on him quickly. Just watch. Donald Trump, they praised him. They loved him. But they're going to, you know what I'm saying? The only promise he's got for them so far, right, you know what I'm saying, is maybe if he does the deportations. But I doubt that's coming. Doubt that's coming. But at the end of the day, maybe those people on the right have to see, hey, man, that's not going to fix all our problems. Yeah, it's not going to fix any of your problems. So, I mean,
it's just going to put us all on digital ID. We're just going to all go on digital ID. That's all that's going to do.
This is opportunity. And seeing leftists praise Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Right. Shut the front door, Matt Weinglass.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's, I think right now, since we're at the top of the hour, I would like to do a little talking back with the crowd on Rumble a little bit. Would you like to take a little breather, come back, or we can bring Leslie in?
Yeah, let's bring Leslie in. I'll take a little quick break, and I'll come back and say goodbye.
Okay, cool. We'll see you in a sec. Okay, we'll see you in a sec, Craig. Okay. All right. I think we might be ready for some talking back, guys. So get your questions. I know you guys got some good feedback on here so far. So we'll go ahead and I'm just setting up here. We'll see if Leslie's ready to go. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, and Jamie, if there's any super chats as well, you're welcome to throw those in. You don't have to do it right this moment, but I'm just making sure we're set up for Leslie to come in here. Have a little talk here. Okay, looks like we're good to go. So I guess it's time for talking back. Here we go. All right, it's time for talking back with Leslie. Here we go. Hey, Leslie. There she is. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here today, Leslie. I know you've been paying attention to the show. We've had some good
Thank you. Hold on. I have a little.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
There you go.
Okay.
I'm on.
Hey, I like that's a cool little background, a little good look today. I like it. You always got something different for us. I love it. I always curious what your next
yeah, a little blurry today, but
no
with the background blurry. Well, hello everyone. I hope everyone's staying safe out there. I know the skies look cleaner and bluer. I think you can see the mountains now, but the air is pretty terrible quality. So anytime I leave my house, I try at the very least to wear a surgical mask. Those don't do anything, and they will not do anything. Hi, Wishigo. For us with this really dirty air from the fires, and it will not do anything for us for the flu or preventing the spread of viruses or anything. So do try to wear N95s. I know they're not easily accessible to a lot of people. I think they're giving them out like at YMCA and a lot of the fire places, the evacuation places, they're giving out N95s. But that's something that I would highly recommend. The air quality is horrendous. Even if you can't see it, we are breathing in microparticles of burned plastic and paint, all the synthetic materials that a lot of houses are made of nowadays. We're breathing all of that. So especially for those people who are asthmatic or COPDers or people that have any chronic lung issues, this will especially affect them. And in the long run, it will probably affect a lot of us people without a lung problem. So I just wanted to throw that out there first, Matt.
Absolutely.
Hope that's okay.
No, that's absolutely important. And we had this discussion with Stephanie Pierucci on Tuesday, and she provided a place we can go. I don't have it with you guys. Have to go back and check that. We're actually uploading that segment over the weekend. You guys can go check that out. But there's a lot of people working on this for us because the mainstream, the people in charge, they don't really care about our health. We've realized that. If anything, it was that COVID was that was the giveaway. That was the moment where we realized they don't actually care about our health, or they would have told us about vitamin D and exercise and how we can eat right and eat better. And they didn't tell us any of this. They told us to put the masks on and stay inside and don't stay 6 feet away. And now fast forward to the fires, they're not saying anything about an N95 mask, which could actually help a little bit in the smoke that we're inhaling here in LA. So that's really the giveaway right now. So we have to do our own work. So I do appreciate that. And by the way, Leslie, can I also point out, thank you for your on-the-ground work here in LA and being there on the ground at the centers where people were needing help, and you were reporting for us and showing us what the people of LA were doing to help those in need. And because the people in power weren't doing anything for us, the leadership let us down, but you were there. So thank you for that. We're hearing a sound there. There might be some feedback coming on your end. Let's see.
Sound?
Hmm.
Can you hear me?
I got you now. Yeah. Maybe if I'm quiet, it'll be better. If you want to start on some of the comments. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Can you still hear that feedback?
No, we're good now.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah. Of course, I was happy to be there helping the people. I was happy to be on camera for you, for everyone that was watching, and really in these tragic moments in LA, it was a beautiful thing seeing the community come together.
Great.
I think there was thousands of people who were volunteering and thousands of donations that were appearing from the community. It was an incredible sight to see the people, the community come together. I don't know about the very powerful and wealthy and the leaders that we have in California, but I mostly saw the people come together. So that was an awesome thing.
Yeah, that was amazing. That's amazing. And we keep going. We're not done. As we said, the fires aren't even out yet. They're still not even contained. So it's insane.
I know.
But yeah.
Me and you are keeping track of the fires in that app. What is it called again? Watch Duty?
Yeah, Watch Duty. And we reported earlier today that the Eaton fires were actually at 50%, 55% contained, which is better news than before. But the Palisades fires were still way, way down at 22% containment. I can't even believe that. It's like we're on day 10 here. I don't know what day we're on here, but they're still only at 22% containment. It's a disgrace. Absolute disgrace.
It is. It's been over a week. This is really ridiculous. It's really sad. And I'm not shaming the fire department or all the other countries that volunteered their fire department. Is nothing against them. They are doing an amazing, tremendous job. I've seen some people from the fire department with injuries and things like that. So nothing against the real heroes, the people that are on the ground. We're punching up.
Yeah.
And this is gone way too long.
Yeah.
And devastations are still happening. We see
Yeah.
it all day, every day. It's really tragic.
Yeah.
There's no better word.
All right. Well, let's get to
But-
some of the comments, shall we? What do you got for us?
Yeah, and let me know if I'm frozen. Am I good?
You're good right now. We'll go with it.
Okay. Well, I guess we can start from the very top. Hello to everyone who were or are still tuned in. All the shout outs, really cool. I'll start with this one, Jokers for you. No matter how extremely bad things get for yourself or the world, remember things can get extremely good too. The international working class got this. Stay connected. And, I'm very connected to a lot of charities and a lot of agencies or, Goodwills, not the store Goodwill. I'm talking about companies that are doing good for other people. So yeah, that is extremely good. The international working class does got this. So I appreciate that comment. Jokers for you from Peace, and interrupt me if you want. It's okay. From Peace Not War 223. This was from the very beginning, by the way, Matt.
I got it.
Glad BB won't be there. Don't need that bloodthirsty pig on US soil unless they will arrest him. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Is anyone ever going to arrest him?
Not here. No, we keep giving him standing ovations. We keep giving standing ovations, and we keep. I guess apparently his wife wants to keep dropping off their dirty laundry in the White House, so they're doing his laundry while we're giving him the standing ovation. So no, that won't be happening this time. That will not be happening on Monday. He canceled his trip. So oh well, good riddance.
Yeah, will not be happening. And I don't know from the top of my head, Matt, how many countries have they have like a arrest warrant for him. I don't know how many countries.
Basically every single country except like 4. And so we're and 2 of those 4 are like the U.S. and Israel. So and then there's 2 others. I don't have the list in front of me either. But it's
best not to count the countries that want to arrest him. It's easier to count the ones that will not arrest him, that will praise him and will give him a standing ovation. Yeah.
Yep. That's right.
One of the most powerful countries in the world, the USA, of course. Moving on. Thanks for that comment. Peace Not War 223. I like this one. Murder in Chief. Jokers for you. Yeah, he is our murderer in chief. Nurses United.
Wait, I gotta find this. Hold on. There we go.
Murderer in Chief.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he is.
Yep.
That's his new name. Nurses United. He looks like my patients who we have to babysit. Oh, yeah. Talking about Joe Biden, our dear president of the United States. I used to work with a geriatric population for a really long time. I've been a nurse for 10 years, and he exhibits exactly like our geriatric patients. Not just geriatric, they're wonderful. I'm talking about the people with dementia and Alzheimer's. He looks exactly like them. Bless their hearts. I don't know. So they're using Joe Biden or something. I don't know. I don't think he knows what he's saying or doing most of the time. Does he?
What are you talking about, Leslie? This is the best version, the best Biden we've ever seen. I mean, Joe Scarborough told us that he's the best Biden we've ever seen right now. The best Biden. I don't know.
Well, I don't know what they're injecting him with or how he's able to get up and walk. And it's actually kind of funny sometimes. It's not funny. Okay. VH sandwich. That's funny. VHS sandwich. I do think a lot of people just want to have hope that a ceasefire will happen, and that's why they're celebrating.
Oh, I got the wrong VH sandwich. There we go. I just want to. Here we go.
Oh, their pictures VHSs, I think.
There we go.
That's great. I love that.
That's good.
Yeah, I agree with you about having hope. In my social media today, and probably in yours too, Matt, there's a lot of people. Well, there's a lot of people celebrating that really didn't care in the past. It's kind of like a see what our Democratic leaders can still celebrating. A lot of people in my social media that do care and that have cared for the last, 16 months, 17 months, I don't know, are celebrating. And so while I also keep that hope, I also want to be realistic that I don't know, we're being lied to, and this is actually not happening. And a few minutes, or was it an hour or two after the ceasefire, Matt, they dropped another bomb and they hurt more people.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just a nurse. I don't know anything, but we'll see what comes Sunday, what happens, and what your predictions are and other people's. I don't know, Matt. It worries me still. I'm not celebrating just yet.
People need hope. People that are desperate need hope. That's why.
Desperate for hope.
Yeah, everybody sitting in death row, right now, people sitting in life sentences, for whatever reason, whether they are guilty or innocent, for whatever reason. When you're desperate, you hold up, you clench that Bible in your hand, you clench onto that faith. We get that. That's a human instinct that we have when we're desperate. We clench onto hope and faith. So let's give them that space to have that, because what else do you have when you have nothing? I mean, that is literally nothing. What do you have left? You barely, if you have any of your limbs left, any of your family members left, any of your anything left, the infrastructure is gone, everything's gone. So you have just that hope that it might be over. Let's leave them that. That's what I was trying to talk to Craig and Dawn about. I wanted to just leave a little space to give them that space to hope. That's it. That's all they have.
Yeah. And what do I always say, Matt? Cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
I am too.
Yeah.
And I wish that can happen like months ago, or actually, I wish it never happened, but it did happen. I wish this happened a long time ago. So yeah, I have hope. I'm optimistic, but I'm very cautious and suspicious and skeptical about it.
Yeah.
So thanks for that comment. VHS. I picked this one, Jokers for You, like in the middle of it. Imagine if a mass protest went to where Resnicks live and bring them into the streets for justice. Imagine if people could take out their anger and pain on the people and system who actually caused it, Matt. Can you imagine if we can do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for the comment. Jokers for You, Nurses United. Reminds me of former People's President Obama. The people's president.
We're losing
dirty water.
Here, let's back it up, because I think we got a little freeze there. I don't know. I think we're okay now, but
Am I still frozen?
I think your sound's not caught up with the picture. We got to figure this out. Okay.
What about now?
Could you try coming in and out? Just real quick. Just try coming in, and we'll go back to this one. Just try coming in and out real quick.
Well, firstly, how do I exit?
Oh, I'll take you out.
Okay.
Okay. She'll be right back. Yeah, we just had a little connection issue on her end. Okay. Leslie's coming right back, and we'll continue with this. We have a couple more comments, and then we're going to bring Craig back in. We'll get on to the rest of the show. Okay. Here we go. Let's try this. Okay. There you are.
Is my sound aligned with my lips?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Where did I leave off?
Oh,
I was reading the comment from an ICU nurse who is my friend. Reminds me of former People's President Obama. Yeah, the People's President, drinking dirty water from the glass. Where was this at, Matt?
That was Michigan. That was
yes.
That was in Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, it kind of gave me a Newsom vibes when he arrived to the fire and he was like, I care. I'm looking around at the fire and the burning houses. Yeah, I remember that. And I think Obama took a sip of that water, or pretended to. He did not drink that water. Yeah, I agree with you. They don't care about us.
Yeah. No, but he did that. The difference is Obama did that in front of the people. He did that in front of the people, which was a big mistake, because you heard the vocal reaction to that. You could hear it on the tape. They thought he was going to do something for them, and he gaslit them in that moment, and they vocally responded. So that was actually a big mistake on Obama's part, to do that live it's like a theater. It was like a gathering of people, and they vocally said, "That's not, dude, you're gaslighting us right now." And we heard him. We heard them do that. Gavin Newsom didn't have those people in front, but they did. They would have done that too, like the woman did when she confronted him, which was awesome. We played that on Tuesday. The woman, the fire victim woman that went up to him and confronted him. We need more of that for sure.
Mm-hmm. Their feedback again.
Little bit. It's okay. We're good.
I went back a few comments. I don't know if Cheese Slice is on. RedNote is more of a Chinese company than TikTok. It will be shut down by the same law right after TikTok is banned. And what is the date for TikTok? The 19th?
Yes.
Oh, that's
it's coming
a
up.
date. You know how many people I know that make a living from TikTok?
Yeah. It's hopefully they're moving over to RedNote now because and we didn't get to cover all of it RedNote. We might get a little more in after this. We'll see it when Craig comes back. We might get a little more coverage on RedNote, but it's pretty wild. But at least they're proactive. They're not sitting around and sulking about it. They're saying we're going to do something. So I like that. I like seeing the protests. I like seeing the activism about it because that's what they were to start with. Remember, they didn't just go on. They didn't just go on there to start with and do little stupid, lip poses like Instagram people, like, Insta girls. These are people that were doing real work. So they're already in the mindset of we got to fight the power. So when you take away our platform, we're gonna maybe cry about it for a minute, and then 5 minutes from now we're gonna get right back up and figure out a way to fight back even harder. And they found that way to do it with RedNote. So we're very interested in how that goes. So I hope we can maybe cover a little bit more of that later in the show here.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Oh. Okay. There is a link that VHS posted. I did click on it. Is the docs.google.com link, a Google Doc for folks and businesses who have been displaced in Altadena. So I did check that out. Oh my gosh, this was when VHS posted this comment. There were, when I clicked it, over 600 people on that list.
Wow.
And they all have a GoFundMe. Some people have $3,000 raised. Some people have $150,000. It's awesome to see that this is happening and so many people getting support. But on the other side, I'm like, oh, some people are getting, $3,000. Some people are up to $150,000.
Yeah.
It would be hard for me to see if I was one of those families who, maybe I'm an elderly person who doesn't really know anyone and I'm getting very little. So I'm happy this is happening, but a little sad about the people who are getting less money. But you know me, I feel sad at these things, but I'm glad it's happening. This is great. I'm not sure who put this thing together, but the numbers will be growing and hopefully this is more spread out for people to see and to donate. Anything helps. Yeah. Literally anything helps. If everyone put in $1 or $5, but there's a million of you to these families, they're gonna get a lot of help. So it was very awesome to see this list, VHS. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I also clicked on the link by Cheese Slice by Jamie.
We covered the poll. That was the poll. We did that.
Yeah. I was just gonna comment. I should get a Twitter account because I couldn't vote.
When are you gonna get a Twitter account, Leslie? I think it's time. It's time.
It is a crime against humanity. I was gonna do it a year ago. I'll do it.
You're in a good position to start now because you can kind of like just say, hey, I'm here, and then we're gonna take all of our people and throw it over to you. Oh, what is this? Oh, Fred Edward. Did Matt even notice Leslie did her hair like her graphic?
Thank you, Fred.
Oh my gosh, you were doing the graphic. I thought
Matt never notices. I'm just kidding.
I knew you were doing a fun hairstyle because you always you get very creative. I didn't line it up that it was the actual graphic from your intro. That's very good. Thank you, Fred, for pointing it out. I should have been.
Thank you, Fred.
It's
yeah. I was wondering when you noticed. No, I'm kidding.
I promise to be more attentive to you. I
promise.
promise.
No, it's funny. It's funny for you guys. I had no hairstyle today, so I just put this in a bun, this craziness in 2 buns, and it happened to work out. So
very good.
Yeah.
All right, let's do a couple more, and then we'll. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of towards the end. Dobter. Trump's actions will be predicated on the flow of resources and if they can or not be maintained.
Yeah, flow of resources for sure. There you go. That's so we'll see. And I appreciate the conversation with Don Pasta. I mean, we have to, just kind of keep our eyes glued to this thing and just see what can happen. I know Don was a little more optimistic than me and Pasta. I think I'm kind of in the middle of the two, and we kind of had but the point is that we have to look at what can he even do, even if he wanted to. Let's look at that flow of resources. So yeah, good call on that.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite comments from Wichigo, it is essential for humanity to defeat Zionism.
Yeah, that's it. That's everything. That's everything. What is humanity if we don't stop the thing that has been capturing us the whole time? You got to stop this thing, and then we can figure out what the next step is. But that's 100% true. Wish to go. And anybody that is going to deny this and say, no, Zionism is good, or no, you are a deflector, you're a gaslighter, you're part of the problem. We need to get rid of this problem and start building our humanity back for sure. So
agreed.
That's a good one to end on, I think. Yeah. That was good.
More feedback, right?
It's a little bit of feedback, but what I want to do is I want to leave you in. What's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I interrupted you. Just thank you to the people that noticed my hair like airwaves and Miguel HG. Oh, hi, Miguel. Princess Lesleia.
Oh, yeah, there you go. There you go.
You're funny. Go ahead. Yes.
Yes. All right. So before you go, and this was great. Thank you for talking back today with us, Leslie.
Happy to,
but before you go, I'm going to bring in one of our friends. Well, we know who he is. He's been a guest on our show before. Please welcome back. Well, we know who he is because we didn't change the title this time, but I love this that he's doing this. Can we do that? Can we change before we bring you in? Can we change the name? Is that possible? I want people to see who you are. You know what? Let's just do it. Here we go. Please welcome back to the show, Luigi. Oh, there he is.
I even spelled it wrong. Hold on, I gotta do Luigi.
Okay. Well, I still have this banner up. There you go.
There it is. I got my Luigi shirt on, right?
Nice.
I got my yellow vest in here because I want to tell everybody I didn't do what I did to have reformists come in and try to change things. We don't want anything reformed. We want revolution. And that's what this is all about. That's what I'm all about. I'm trying to spark a revolution, right? And this is why Bill Burr yelled out. I heard they told me some guy passed me a little piece of paper in my cell, and I read it, and it said that Bill Burr mentioned you. He said, free Luigi on the Jimmy Kimmel show. Well, it's starting to work. People are starting to understand what's going on, and it's time to make a move, ladies and gentlemen. We need to look at the parasites that don't care about us. They kill us. We have to understand the parasites in the Zionist nation that are still bombing people. They're not serious about the ceasefire. We need a revolution. And like I said, when my trial comes up, I'm going to start putting the people's story on trial. I'm going to let you hear from the people that Leslie had to wait on and take care of that couldn't get out of a jam because they were either underassured and had no assurance. Like the system that is so bad and corrupt that it's actually killing us, and they don't care about us. Michael Jackson tried to tell you, they clipped him. So now I'm trying to tell you, they don't care about us.
Yeah. No, well, exactly. It is picking up. You're right.
Mute Leslie when you're not talking. That might help.
Yeah, because we have a little feedback. If you press the mute button there.
You guys must be close to each other.
Yeah, we can. Can you press the mute on yours, Leslie? You just go to your icon. You can press mute. I wonder what's going on there.
I thought I was on mute. Can you still hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you, but you could, if you press the mute button, you can be.
Yeah.
You can get rid of when you're not talking. Oh well. We'll figure it out.
Leslie, thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for saving the animals in the fire. Another situation where you're going to see those in charge don't care. They'll burn up our land, and they're going to swoop in and buy it. And you already see Gavin Newsom changing the zoning. So instead of people who've made a few bucks and then can get their houses reestablished in Altadena, which was where a lot of black people bought houses because they weren't allowed to buy in Pasadena because of the red line zoning laws. Okay, this is real racism going on, ladies and gentlemen. Real racism. They should have their houses built first right away because that fire was highly ignored while they took on the Hollywood Hills fire. It's time for a revolution. Ceasefire, schmeasefire. They're lying. They're going to go back to killing Palestinians. And Donald Trump needs to be called out for this kabuki theater he's trying to perform, Matt.
Yeah. No, 100%. And this is, I remember we had this one as well. There it is. You got the Luigi on the wall with the 3 bullets. We know what those bullets said very clearly. This isn't a joke. This is something that's picked up, and it resonates today through all the stuff that's happened since Luigi came on the scene. Since when we're waiting for the court, we can't wait for that to happen, where we can see what the testimony will actually be in the trial itself. I know they tried to off you in that little perp walk. We saw that. That was very, how should I say it? Oswaldian. Yeah, very Oswaldian of them to perp walk you through such an open area where any sniper could have got you. So thank God that didn't happen, because we want to see what happens at this trial for sure.
Well, the whole thing is we need to highlight the whole system there, Matt. And we just don't want Medicare for all or universal health care. We want a healthcare system that's going to really work for us. We have a sick care system, and I don't want to hand it over to big pharma. So we have to highlight what's going on, highlight what the insurance companies going on. Do you see what the insurance companies did, how they dropped a bunch of people in LA where you're at by the fires, Matt? I mean, these people don't care. They are the parasites, and that's why I left those things on the bullet. And like I said, wait for my trial. And I know there's a lot of people out there who think that the oligarchs want us all in a universal healthcare system because they control us and they can force us to do what they want. They can mandate certain shots and stuff. Well, we can change that. We can take it out of their hands, and we can make a healthcare system that works for everybody, because even a crappy healthcare system is better than no healthcare system in my mind. And I know Pasta's been experiencing it for what he's going through with his mother. I know Leslie's experienced it in her line of work and stuff, but we need to get it right. So even though I don't agree with RFK and his Zionist stands, if he's serious about changing our food and our health, then so be it. But I don't think they're going to confirm him. And I think Donald Trump is all part of the blob. He's all part of the kabuki theater. And that's what we're witnessing. And that's what we have to call out. This is not a ceasefire. We don't need any reformist. We need a revolution.
Yeah.
Yellow jacket style.
Hell yeah.
And I've gained some weight since I've been in prison because they're feeding me a lot here.
Hey, maybe now would be a time for a food strike. Just kidding. No, that's that. No, Luigi, we need you. We actually need you healthy. We need you mentally fit, physically. Just you need to be grounded, ready for anything. So we get to this trial. That's what I'm hoping for. I hope there's nothing goes wrong there. But we're getting there. We're getting there.
I'm 3 steps ahead of them. People think that these people are so smart and whatnot. Well, I'm outsmarting them. I've been born into a very privileged lifestyle, but some of us, even though we have all the money, it's not what we're seeking. We're seeking to make a mark over here, to change things. I told you about some of the things I'm into, doing what's best for the greater good, for real, not just as a trap where they tell you do this for the greater good. I'm into the greater good for real. And, even though I had to do what I had to do, that person, the pen is mightier than the sword. And how many people did he kill, or how much money did he profit off the death of people because he didn't want to insure them? We have to expose the whole system for what it is. 3 steps ahead of them. You think if I wanted to, I couldn't have got out of Dodge? I have millions to get out of Dodge. I could have got on a boat and gone anywhere, right? But I did this whole thing so they'd have to extradite me. I gave them a little breadcrumbs, and we'll see. I have to, presume I'm innocent, so I get a trial. We need to have a trial.
Yeah.
If I say I'm guilty and I did it for X, Y, and Z, the truth will never come out. And I plan to expose the whole system for what it is, so that whatever comes out of this comes out something more positive, not just a captured system. So that's what my goal is. That's what I'm here to do. Thank you so much. I got to get back to my cell. I got a chess game with the prisoner next to me. Free Palestine.
Awesome.
I love you guys.
Thanks, Luigi. All right. And I'll take the mute off here. Let's see if we're good here. Yeah. Okay, there we are.
That's never happened before.
I know. It's strange. It's strange. We always have weird stuff here on StreamYard. Always, always. But hey, we got through. You were able to do some talking back with us. Appreciate all the effort. We'll figure out the feedback stuff for next time. But thanks for everything. Any last words for our viewers or anyone out there?
Yes, the feedback noise is so distracting with my adult ADHD. Be safe out there if you're in LA. Again, I highly recommend wearing an N95. We're breathing in toxins. It's horrible for you. To all the people that tuned in and are still here listening to me and us, really cool. Thank you guys. Peace and love and free Palestine. Thank you.
You got it. Free Palestine. Power to the people. See you next time, Leslie.
Oh, you can't see my fingers. There you go.
Oh, we got it. That looked like you were fuzzy there, and that you were flipping us off, and you were like, we gotta like blur out the middle finger. That's funny. Okay, we saw it now. We saw it. The peace sign. Okay, take care, Leslie. We'll see you next time. All right. Okay, we are rocking and rolling here, guys. What a great show we've had today. What a great show. Thanks for sticking around with us. We're going to bring Craig back in here in a moment and figure out how we're going to wrap it up. I know we got some stuff we didn't get to. Let's figure it out. Because we still have some content to play around with here. So let's have a little discussion. Craig, you got to change your name back. We got to change that, but I'll bring you in anyways.
I'm on it.
There you go. Look at that.
There you go. See, it's already back. What are you talking about? Thank you.
You are back.
What did I miss?
Oh,
what did I miss? Did I miss something?
Craig, I gotta say something. Every time you're not here, Luigi's here. Wait, Clark and Superman. Wait. Every time I happen to be in Niagara Falls, and Craig is not around as usual. Right.
Clark Kent. Clark
Kent reference. Yeah, Margot Kidder, Christopher. Yeah. She couldn't figure it out. He was great. He was the only one that could wear those glasses believably and take them off, and you actually couldn't tell. I was like, damn, no one else could pull that off but Christopher. Anyway, yeah.
What's his name says more Gilligan than Luigi. Thank you, Fred. I love you too as well. But I also want to point out how shadow banned and how messed up YouTube is. Really, and this is what I'm talking about. Donald Trump with Elon Musk. We go back to playing team sports. Right now, he's got a serious conflict of interest there because they're going to give him and his little minions, right, all this support, all this propping up, and then the free press never really becomes a free press. So at one point, you were fighting for a free press, and then you threw it out the window, right? Because I know there's a lot of people cheerleading, but there's a lot of other people too after the HB1 visas. They're like, wait a second, Elon's a little bit of a donkey, yeah. Right, and then the 702, the wireless, the warrantless wiretapping. I mean, come on, it's just it is what it is, man.
Thank you to Jokers for You. Great show. Love Luigi. DeBar's amazing as always. Amazing people. We're so lucky. Please support if you can. Thank you so much, Jokers. And Leslie also is saying, she's chiming in here, and we appreciate you coming on with us, Leslie. I love being part of this panel of intellectual, brilliant people who think for themselves. That's the key, thinking for ourselves. It's not even about intellectually brilliant. Like there's plenty of intellectually brilliant people out there that don't think for themselves. So that's it. That's what it's about. That's why that's in caps. I could never hear those types of things with regular people I interact with. And regular people, you mean people who don't use their critical thinking skills, which I don't think it's about being brilliant or intellectually smart. I don't think it's so at all. I think there's people with very low education. They don't have college degrees. They don't have that education on their resume, and yet they still think for themselves. So you could go the other direction too. And so I think that's a part of the brain that we all can tap into. And it's not about how many degrees you have or how book smart you are. It's just about taking off the goggles, taking off, those tribal helmets, and just start thinking for yourselves. That's what it's about. So thanks, Leslie. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you to all those people who are supporting us too as well and on the platforms. I know my Twitter's got a lot of people out there. That's the problem that Elon has, right? He's putting certain stuff out there where he can get hung out to dry and people catch on, but they're still censoring and they're lifting up voices. There's people Elon and Trump minions, even people I don't subscribe to, showing up in my feed all the time, and people that I follow, and even though I want to hear what they're saying, they never show up, and I got to go hunt them down to see what they're saying.
Yeah.
So it is what it is, but YouTube is just ridiculous. By the way, just ridiculous. YouTube, you're not. I mean, please.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen. We are at the point where we thought we'd be ending the show by now, but it was just, again, this happened
about 10 minutes ago. Yeah,
it was supposed to be 10 minutes ago. We have like 3 more things we can do here. Let me throw it out to you. Tell me if you want to do 1 or 2 of them. I'm assuming you don't want to do all 3. That's going to be a lot, but
I can do one more. I can do one more.
Okay. Okay. So here are the choices.
I know what they are.
Do you want to do some more deep dive on the RedNote and TikTok situation, since that's coming? The ban on TikTok's coming up in 3 days. Do you want to do loudest?
That's what I
voice?
want to do. I want to do. I want to talk a little bit about RedNote, just a little bit, and then I got to dip on out. But I think that's only because I went to it today, and some of the information there is just amazing.
Okay,
it's just seeing people over there going, "Hey, man." Yeah, so
let's do this, because I saved this for earlier, because we were doing that on the top censor news. I'm going to start for people that are getting this for the first time right now. The best thing I can do is start with this, and this isn't just because we've talked about Ian Carroll before. He gets this part right, and we can talk about other stuff. He's going to lead this in and just give us a little briefing on what has happened in the TikTok / RedNote community in the last 48 hours. So here's a briefing by Ian Carroll, and then we'll start talking. Here we go.
That's going on with this RedNote app, this China app thing, is amazing. To fill you in on this, it's like the most little brother energy thing ever, and it's happening on a mass scale, like millions of people. So the TikTok ban is going through a couple days, and Gen Z's like, no, fuck you. Because we all know that the Israel lobby is who's behind the TikTok ban. It has nothing to do with China. Look up Project Texas. It's controlled by Oracle already. It's not Chinese propaganda, and even if it was, they're not concerned about our data. If they were concerned about our data, they would have passed data privacy laws, not banning TikTok. Trump tried a TikTok ban bill way back, and it didn't get enough support. And it wasn't until October 7th and the Israel lobby and, support for Palestine breaking out all across TikTok and across young people in general that something actually started to get done. And so now that they're going to ban TikTok, what does Gen Z do? They're like, well, fuck you. We'll go download another Chinese TikTok app. And so RedNote is this Chinese, straight up like in Mandarin app. It has now launched to #1 on the App Store. You can download it yourself. I downloaded it onto my phone just so that I could be a part of that statistic of how many people are downloading it, because that's hilarious. And then what winds up happening? You wind up with American citizens and Chinese citizens just on the same app chatting with each other. They're like teaching each other Mandarin. They're like doing cultural exchange. It's hilarious.
So that's the long and the short of it. I don't know. Did he say anything just now that didn't align with your assessment, Craig? I mean, obviously we can expand on it, but I figured that we'd start with that.
No, I mean, he hit a lot of notes there too as well. I mean, I think he pointed out that, Israel was the reason why, the Zionists was the reason why TikTok is going away. I mean, I love to play the video of Tom Cotton talking to the CEO of TikTok going, hey, did you ever have a Chinese passport? I think I just told you I'm Singaporean. I'm not Chinese. No, the data's kept over here. I'm Singaporean. Right? You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I mean, they're trying to twist it, but once again, why isn't he calling out Donald Trump? Why isn't he calling out RFK for not coming to the table and saying this is ridiculous? I mean, this is one of the things that we supported these people for, right? They were supposed to be for freedom of speech and stuff. So, I mean, he has to make some wrongs. He has to correct some wrongs. Like I said, this guy, there's no lie there. That's cool. But, I mean, it's just awfully suspicious with this guy coming out of nowhere. And he did it on the back of a lot of other people's information. Every video that he has made was talked about in the Truth community for quite some time, and people I know that have done extensive work on that, including Whitney Webb and The Last American Vagabond and Derek Bros. And like I said, just go watch that interview with Derek Bros and Ian Carroll. That will tell you a lot what you need to hear.
No,
but yes, really good on the RedNote stuff, and you know what I'm saying.
Okay, well,
yeah.
let's go a little further. Let's look at an example, because this is guys, you can see this on Twitter right now. We usually, and I'm excited about this part because I never got into TikTok. What I have been used to is on Twitter that the great TikTokers, the great little segments and little videos that are worth our time and attention, they get shared onto Twitter. And so I was like, oh no, if you get rid of TikTok, we're not going to have access to that. Well, they're going over to RedNote now. So I might check it out just because I'm curious, but I'm looking forward to the same group, the same Gen Zs that were on TikTok are now going to move over to RedNote, and they're going to share with us on Twitter. So I'm excited about that switch up, and that they're not boo-hoo-hooing too much. A few of them had some panic attacks, and I get it because that's their livelihood. They're losing everything. They have to start over. But it looks like that the people on the Chinese people that are about in the same age range, these are like the same generation. They're on RedNote, with open arms, ready to let them in and help guide them through. And it's pretty awesome. So let's look at one TikToker right now who is learning about China. And again, there's so many examples online. I'm just going to share this one, what she's saying here, and see how this goes. Here we go.
He said that Americans are not free because the American TikTok refugees asked the Chinese, what stereotypes do you have about us? And I'm thinking they're going to say, like, we're fat and we like junk food. No. They said that we think that we are free, but we are not, that we live under an oligarchy, and that we essentially live in a corporation. And we're fat.
So that's a little sample, but this is the type of aha moments that are occurring right now. I'm loving it. I'm loving the interactions. This is what you think. Now we've heard that. We know this. You and I know this. Jimmy Dore been talking about this for so long, that we are the most captured people on the planet. It just to hear this girl, this one example, saying that they're telling us that they understand this in China. They understand this about us, and they're empathetic. Apparently, they're empathetic to us, that it's not our fault. But to open up this line of dialogue now is absolutely awesome. I love it. And I love these kind of these like aha moments happening right now. Let me play one more, and then I want to hear your thoughts on this. This one will hit home for you, because this is somebody on one of these guys from China on RedNote with us. And I thought this was interesting because this brings up the medical issue that we have here. So it already relates back to Luigi. Check this out.
Hello, fellows. In my last video comments, some of you share your medical bill, and that the cost of ambulance shocked me, man. Look at this, $9,000 for an ambulance and the insulin. That's like 3 months of income for an average American. And this, $900? Just for an appointment and painkillers. In China, it only costs about $10. And this, in China, we never worry about the ambulance charges. Today, I will show you how much the ambulance costs in Shanghai, which is the most expensive city in China. Let's look at this table I made by using the official data. You guys can take a screenshot for later review. This is why some Chinese followers commented yesterday, it only costs around $50 in China for ambulance services. Those politicians should have taken care of your people first. At the end, salute to Luigi and wish the best to you all. Please follow me for more sharings from the other end of the world. Wow. Bye-bye.
Wow.
小红书.
Wow. I mean, doesn't that just get you kind of, you're feeling that something's happening here, right? The oligarchy they have to be shaking in their boots right now, because these guys are understanding that this didn't work. They capture the fear mongering, the idea that they were going to convince us that China was the reason they had to stop TikTok, and the TikTokers only went to RedNote. I mean, this is the irony here. They only went to RedNote as an FU in protest, because we knew it was because of Israel. We knew they didn't want critique of Israel. So it was only because it was just to FU them for pretending it was for China. And now you have this incredible pipeline that's been built and things like this being shared, like information being just exposed, that the TikTokers weren't even paying attention. They weren't even paying attention to China. They were paying attention to Israel and Palestine, other stuff. Now a whole new world of information has been opened up. And I bet you the oligarchy is trembling right now. What do? The TikTok ban goes through, and these guys continue their adventures into the what we call the rabbit holes of information that was kept from us our entire lives. Craig, what are your thoughts on all this?
Well, be ready for some breaking stories coming up that RedNote is now spying in and has spyware and doing whatever. Look for any type of manufacturing sent from the Congress, from those people in charge, to get rid of it right away. You know what I'm saying? And I know that the truthers will try to spin it once again. You know what's going on? You know, like, how could they let this happen? That's what they say. Why would they let this portal be open? They're going to shut down TikTok. But no, because that's, once again, they're not that smart. They're not ahead of everything, and they weren't paying attention to it. Well, they're paying attention to it right now. And I think this also goes back to the thing that you said to me yesterday that just kind of resonated. And remember, I got a little silent on the phone because you got me thinking, right? And you said that I think that everybody is realistic that there's never going to be a panacea, right? Like a perfect system of something. Is panacea the right word? Correct me if I'm wrong. But a perfect system, a great system.
It's called a utopia.
A utopia was the word you used. You're right. They're never going to have the utopia that people think they're going to have. You know what I'm saying? And from every aspect of it, whether you're looking at socialists who want a lot more centralized control, or, you know, libertarians and anarchists who want no control and let the system just work out itself, whatever the case may be, what we're seeing through RedNote is that, right, and we're going to see a lot more of the distaste for their country, but I think there's more of a type of social contract with the people of China and their government versus the people of America and their government. In other words, the American government doesn't give people shit, right? With the Chinese government, okay, they get a security state, they're looking at us, but they give us high-speed rail. They give us a way of living where we don't have to stress shit out. You know what I'm saying? We have a life expectancy that's going really much further. We're not just married to our work 24/7 the way you guys are. You guys get nothing. Your wages are going down. Our wages are going up. We got cool food, cool restaurants. We got everything you got over there, right? It's once again, it's a mixed economy. It's not like a communist country the way Marco Rubio describes it, where I asked Marco Rubio in his latest tweet, are the Chinese people in the room with us right now? Like the paranoid, it just shows you. Instead of doing what China did, their government, making the conditions better for their people to live in, despite all the areas in which we say, oh, that's against our civil liberties, the American governments would rather demonize China than do better for their own citizens and say, all right, you know what? We're going to make things better for our citizens so they'll want to support us. And that's what we're seeing over here, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, that is the most damning piece of information that can get out there. It's like, okay, we got a shitty government too, but they give us a lot more than your government gives us. They're not sending us to the poorhouse. What's the wealth disparity over in America? It's going the opposite way than what China's going the other way. And that's something that people have to realize. And there's only so much longer they can keep the big lie going. That's the big lie for the Republicans. The fact that Chinese citizens are like under an authoritarian, overpressing government, and they got to whisper to each other and they can't talk. No, they don't have the need to want to talk out against the government because they believe in central planning, a lot of them. They've seen how it works. Oh, I can take a train from Beijing to Shanghai and get there in a couple hours, whatever. I know I'm not good with the, but after seeing RedNote, and I mostly put in food stuff so I can see food stuff, and learning language. I'm loving it, man. And this is something I've been saying for quite some time. And, I got a couple friends out there. I love the Chinese people. I just don't like the Chinese government. Well, the Chinese government, right? Let the Chinese people worry about it. Worry about your own government because you think you're free and you're not. And we're perfect examples of it, right? We're on a YouTube over here kind of off the grid, pirate style, because they took down your YouTube. The Truth Wire to this day still demonetized, which was the Convo Couch for years. Censorship is all along. We are not free. We just got the illusion of freedom, like George Carlin said. But if you want 23 flavors or 16,000 bagels, we got that for you. That's what RedNote is doing, and look for them to cut that cord quickly, Matt.
and I'm going to just add two things to this. So you mentioned the utopia. We know that utopia doesn't exist by definition. It's unattainable. You have Chinese people who have actually they have the ability to be critical of the thing they signed up for or didn't sign up for, but they can see it. They look at us and say, these people in America don't know what they signed up for. They don't know what they're part of. That's the problem. So now, no matter what happens, if TikTok gets captured, whatever, if the RedNote gets captured next or whatever they do next, you can't unsee what you've seen. The TikTok generation is not going to be able to unsee that what they were exposed to. So we can have discussions about, is the system in China a great system? Is there a better system? Sure. But you can discuss that honestly because you recognize the thing that you're in front of. Until we have to stop here. What we have to stop doing is every time something fails, every time we have like a California fire or a Luigi situation, anytime something goes wrong, a COVID lockdown, upward transfer of wealth, an illegal war in Ukraine, funding a genocide, whatever it is, we have to stop saying that it's these words of like disaster capitalism or crony capitalism or blaming it on communism, which we're not even in. And we have to start saying the thing we're seeing happening right in front of us is a failure of the thing that we signed up for or didn't sign for. It's the failure of the thing that we're in. And then we can start being honest and have honest discussions like they do apparently in China. Let me just throw this up because this is from James Lee. Now he got the Gavin Newsom stuff right on. He went down the rabbit hole of what happened to that $26 billion for homelessness. And he found the Cayman Island account. And we covered all that right before New Year's. And what do you know? The fires happened and we went down that thing, obviously, these last couple of weeks. But I thought this was interesting from James Lee. And I'm not just playing this to be devil's advocate. I want to cover it all. It's important that we discuss all the nuance and layers and talk about what you suggested, Craig, just earlier. You suggested that something could go wrong with RedNote, and it probably will go wrong. Let's hear what James Lee has.
Let me say this real quick before we play James Lee too as well. I love you're playing this, dude, because this is so awesome that you got to cover that and stuff. Big difference between what's going on in China, and this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
China, they're going to execute their bankers who are fraudulent, whatnot. They do that over there. Over here, they're praising them. In fact, Donald Trump has been talking to Larry Fink and freaking Jamie Dimon. That just shows you everything right there, right? Yeah, please. I love it. I love your playing. This is great.
Oh my God, I got to say, I got to
stuck around
here in California that want to see Luigi executed. People are friends and family of us that are saying this. You're like, are you out of your effing mind? That's the guy you want to see on an electric chair? What the hell? It's completely bizarro world here. But yeah, let's see what James Lee has to say about what could go wrong with RedNote. Let's see.
I have some good and bad news about RedNote, and you better buckle up for this one. First off, the good news, I'm loving it. The good vibes, the cultural exchange, the sticking it to the U.S. government attitude, amazing. I would love to see the look on Tom Cotton's face right now. People are comparing medical bills. People are having straight up conversations with each other about the Freemasons. And apparently Luigi is a big cultural icon in China, which is wild. With all this backtracking going on right now, it's probably safe to say that the TikTok ban is going to probably go down as the biggest propaganda war blunder of all time. Which leads me to the bad news. Somebody posted, Gen Z is immigrating to RedNote to continue to speak about Gaza and Israel's crimes. They can ban TikTok all they want. Nothing will stop the tsunami of change that this genocide has created. Except they kind of can, and I think they already are. So it's been reported in the Financial Times, this is where I'm getting this article from, Xiaohongshu, which is RedNote, China's fastest growing social media platform, has gained the backing of venture capital firm DST Global in a rare example of foreign investors putting money into a tech sector that it has largely shunned since Beijing's crackdown. Who is DST Global and why are they investing in China? Let's take a look. All right, DST Global is a venture capital and private equity firm that primarily invests in late-stage internet companies. And it was founded by a guy named Yuri Milner. And Yuri Milner is an Israeli investor and science philanthropist. Awesome. So yeah, this kind of speech on RedNote probably won't last too long. Because you better believe Yuri Milner is getting a lot of calls right now. Probably from this guy and this group. But hey, by all means, keep the party going as long as you can on RedNote. I love it. keep doing what you're doing, but kind of sucks that party's always got to be ruined by, I'm not going to say.
Dude, come on, China. Get into it. All those RedNote people. And by the way, I want to learn how to say the name in Chinese because I'm going to practice. Dude, I got like stuff from where American people are teaching us how to speak. I want to go to Beijing. I want to maybe go open up a pizzeria in China somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Cook Italian food for Chinese people, learn their culture, eat their food, learn that language. I mean, that's what RedNote makes me want to do. And but I hope they get together and they start banning that. Like, don't let them buy it. Say no. Somebody else come in. Somebody come in to protect the freedom of speech. But it doesn't make a difference. On this end, it's going to get yanked.
It's going to get yanked. But this is the thing that the good news. Let's sandwich it with some more good news because he did a beautiful job. The good news, and then here's the bad news. Let's sandwich it with one last point. No matter how bad it gets, no matter how much they're able to squash the next thing, capture the next thing after that, you can't unsee what you see. You can't unknow what you know. And the best part about what's happening right now, Craig, is that this generation on TikTok is aligned with this generation in China, and they're learning from each other, and you can't undo that. So that's something to be happy and celebrate in this moment right now.
Yeah. And by the way, Jordan Lott says, heck yeah, Italian food for Chinese. Should I leave TikTok now? Come on, Jordan Lott. Come on over there. Let's have a good time. I'm going to jump on there. I'm going to make a profile. I'm going to go check out some Chinese restaurants and kind of say, this is the Chinese food here in Florida. This is what it's like, and talk to the people there and share that on RedNote. Hopefully make some friends, learn some language until they stop us. I mean, this is something I talk, dude, like you don't even know. Back in the days, I was like, there was not a lot of people talking about China. And I got a lot of stuff when I was a Democrat and the Bernie Sanders party. Remember, Democrats didn't even talk nicely about China. They're like, oh, you can't have the convo couch in China. I'm like, how do you know that? Like, get out of here. Like,
you're just making shit up.
You're just making shit up. You sound like a fucking Trumper. But hey, man, I got to get out of here. It's 3 hours into it. Thank you so much, Matt. I love you. I love coming on the show. I look forward to seeing you soon. There's some things in the work. I got to go take care of Mama Pasta. And
listen, I was saving this for you. I can do it without you, but I'm going to do a quick Max Blumenthal because we talked about it earlier. If you can do 5 minutes, we're going to do it. Otherwise, I'll do it on your behalf. Your call.
What's that?
No, I'm going to do a 5 minute on Max because that Max.
You go ahead, do it on my behalf. I'm going to have the convo couch tomorrow. Whoa, Truthwire tomorrow. We probably are waiting him for them to confirm. He said they might be able to do it. Sam Husseini will be on the Truthwire tomorrow.
Oh, hell yeah.
He hasn't confirmed, but he's mini confirmed. So he was also there with Max.
Yes, that's right.
They did Jose Vega style. I love you. I love Leslie. I love you folks. I love your audience. I love your hair. I love your eyes. I love everything about you. And I love Luigi. Tell him I said hi next time out there.
I will let him know.
Later, guys.
We love
Thank you. I think I hit, by the way, over 900 people on Twitter, right?
It might be 1,000 something now. So, you might have hit 1,000. I don't know.
I'm on 901, so I know that Elon's going to say, see? Yeah, shut up, Elon. I'm out of here. I love you, man.
Peace out, Craig.
Later, buddy.
See ya, buddy. All right. Craig Pasta Jardula, co-host for today's show. What awesome conversations we've had with him. Don DeBar, Leslie coming in with us earlier. What a great show we've had. We were going to do this. We were actually going to do a little crossover to Just Rumble because we had some COVID stuff, some stuff we wanted to get into. We're going to save that for next week because it's kind of piled up, and we've been very careful about not talking too much about that because that's the kind of medical misinformation crap that those little warnings and strikes and things they can do to you to end your channel as you're just getting started. They did that to us on our last channel, completely terminated. Even though we're kind of playing with fire with the Israel stuff and the Russia stuff, but that's the one they can really get you on that as far as the medical misinformation. So we're gonna hold off on that. We're not gonna shut the YouTube off this episode. Next time we'll do primarily specifically COVID stuff on Rumble and on Twitter X. For now, I'm going to leave you guys with a bonus we weren't going to do this until we saw it this morning. Just a little segment I want to do on Loudest Voice of the Week. Even though technically we did a Loudest Voice on Tuesday, this is a bonus Loudest Voice. It's very important we put this up, and I'm doing this on behalf of Craig because we talked about this right before we went live earlier, that Max Blumenthal has destroyed Blinken, Antony Blinken, in his final appearance, because all the Biden people are doing their final appearances, final press conferences at the State Department is where he went in along with Sam Husseini and some others that did a coordinated attack on him. Let's go ahead and do that right now. Yeah. Oh, and then we got the Sam Husseini one too. Okay, great. Let me go ahead and start Loudest Voice. Here we go. It's time for Loudest Voice of the Week. This is a bonus Loudest Voice of the Week. Here we go. It is time for Loudest Voice of the Week, bonus edition. This week, we saw a massive takedown. And I say takedown, I mean, this is what we call a resistance movement, a protest movement that is coordinated by Max Blumenthal and Sam Husseini and others. We just found all this out this morning. So we found different camera angles. There were 3 different shots of Max doing what he did. So we're gonna focus on Max because he's the one that started the original disruptor of Antony Blinken, who, as you guys know, the Biden administration, the warmongering psychopath administration that came in 4 years ago, this is their final 3 days. So they're all doing their little farewell speeches. I don't know if you guys saw what's her name, the press secretary did a little boo-hoo, tearful moment. They're all doing the little farewell. I'm out. I killed enough people for 4 years. I'm out. Well, Antony Blinken was especially a special type of sociopathic, warmongering, evil, that beyond some of the other ones. I mean, so he was one that this was very good timing that we could get this to happen. That when I say we, I mean we support Max Blumenthal and his efforts and all the people that helped get this to happen. So here it is. Without further ado, I actually have the 3 camera shots edited together. Somebody put all 3 together so you can see Antony Blinken's reaction. You can see Max Blumenthal's point of view and a shot on Max, all edited together. Watch this. Max is getting officially this week the bonus Loudest Voice of the Week award. Here we go.
Even greater respect, even greater appreciation for you asking the tough questions, for you holding us to account, being on the receiving end. Sometimes that's not always the most comfortable thing, not always the most enjoyable thing, but it is the most necessary thing.
300 reporters in Gaza were on the receiving end of your bombs. Why did you keep the bombs flowing when we had a deal in May?
I'm happy to address
questions.
questions.
We all knew we had a deal. Everyone in this room knows we had a deal, Tony, and you kept the bombs flowing.
I'm happy to address
questions. Why did you
sacrifice
the rules-based order on the mantle of your commitment to Zionism? Why did you allow my friends to be massacred? Why did you allow my friends' homes in Gaza to be destroyed when we had a deal in May? You helped destroy our religion, Judaism, by associating with fascism. You waved the white flag before Netanyahu. You waved the white flag before Israeli fascism.
I look forward to taking questions when I get a chance to finish my statement.
Your father-in-law was an Israel lobbyist. Your grandfather was an Israel lobbyist. Are you compromised by Israel? Why did you allow the Holocaust of our time to happen? How does it feel to have your legacy be genocide? How does it feel to have your legacy be genocide? You too, Matt. You smirk through the whole thing every day. You smirk through a genocide.
Thank you.
Thank you to Decensored News for putting those 3 shots together so we can see the whole experience. Now, I'm being made aware, and I have not seen this one. This is what I'm going to do here, because Sam Husseini, as Craig said earlier in the show, was part of this multipolar attack. And I say attack in the sense that this is how you confront the people in power. You have to do it like this. Jose Vega has talked to us about this on the show several times. How do you do this? You do it sometimes you have to do it as a team. Now, I'm getting word here because I haven't seen this one. This is going to be a surprise to me. I'm tagging on this one from Sam Husseini, who will be on Truthwire tomorrow, which we just got word from Craig and Fee. So please watch him on Truthwire. He'll be able to explain this. But we're going to watch this for the first time if you guys have not seen it yet. Jamie, did you queue it up, or actually I can do it? I got it. I'm queuing this up. Apparently it's a little more disturbing what happened to him, but he'll be able to talk about it more. Are you setting that up? Give me a thumbs up if you got this. No? Okay. I got this. I'm going for it. Here we go. Share screen. Yeah, again, this all came up this morning. We didn't even know this was going to happen here. Here we are. Okay. I'm finding the post here. Okay, so this is from Sam Husseini. This is okay, let me bring this up. Okay, there's 1 minute and 30, so it's about the same running time. I guess this happened right after. So Max was the first to go at him, to go at Blinken. Then we had Sam do this. So let's see. I'm watching this for the first time as you guys are. Okay, let's check this out.
Carrying in my pocket the names of those who have been arbitrarily detained and unfairly held hostage, unjustly held hostage, and bringing them home, returning them to their families, returning them to their loved ones. Finally,
get your hands off me. 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 Answer a damn question. Do you know about the Hannibal Directive? Do you know about Israel's nuclear weapons? Everybody from the ICJ. I was sitting here quietly, and now I'm being manhandled by 2 or 3 people. You pontificate about a free press. You pontificate about a free press. You are hurting me. You are hurting me. You are hurting me. I'm asking questions after being told by Matt Miller that he will not answer my questions until I ask him questions.
Respect the process.
Wasn't the point of the May 31st statement to block the ICJ orders? You blocked the ICJ orders.
Please, sir, respect the process.
Oh, respect the process. Respect the process. While everybody from Amnesty International. From Amnesty International to the ICJ saying that Israel's doing genocide and extermination. You're telling me to respect the process. Criminal, why aren't you in the Hague? Why aren't you in the Hague? Why aren't you in the Hague?
Finally, we've worked to modernize our diplomacy so that we're more agile, we're more effective, we're more prepared for the challenges.
He goes right back to it. Wow. Yeah, Jamie, yes, that was way more disturbing because as I'm kind of piecing this together now, he didn't even do the disruption that Max did, and apparently they just went right at him. That's insane. I'm kind of speechless here. Let's Jamie, if you have this, there's a tweet where we see how from Jordan of talking about how CNN framed. Of course, CNN did not cover this correctly. I'll bring this up here if you have that on the screen there. Okay, let's see. Okay, so it looks like so this is how CNN framed it. Cringeworthy heckling by activists. Okay, yeah. Let's see. I can't believe it. Okay. Go ahead.
As you heard, he was repeatedly interrupted by some cringeworthy heckling by activists. I mean, we were both sitting here pretty stunned, frankly. This is supposed to be a press conference with a room of journalists. Those were activists who were interrupting the Secretary of State when he initially was thanking the press and talking about the Israeli-Hamas deal.
Yeah, I think it's really surprising. A lot of our viewers will have seen protests on Capitol Hill, for example, during confirmation hearings, but it's very rare for something like that to happen at the State Department. I'm over there all the time in that briefing room, and you need to have a reason to be at the State Department. You need to have an appointment. You need to have press accreditation to come and go. So it's unclear who those people were. So I think there's a real security question there. Allow me to be cheesy for a moment. This is unclear. A testament to American democracy and the way that American administrations approach their press rooms. They give accreditation to a wide number of journalists and increasingly what I would call less mainstream journalists, more opinion journalists who have the opportunity to go to the State Department, to go to the White House and to ask questions of the representatives of that administration. So I'm always amazed by whenever I go to these different press rooms about who's actually sitting there. It's not just Americans, it's people from all over the world, from Turkey, from China, from South Korea, who get to ask questions of people like Matt Miller at the State Department or Karine Jean-Pierre at the White House. And so there's a relatively open policy for now in these different press rooms.
No, that's not okay. That is not okay. We know to expect this shit. We know to expect them to lie and to deceive and to manipulate when these things happen, but that is especially cruel. Pretending they don't know who these people are, pretending they don't know what they represent, the gray zone. I mean, you got Max Blumenthal, you got Sam Husseini, for crying out loud. These are guys. These aren't just they just let the riffraff in. They don't check credentials. So you're saying that so CNN's take is that the State Department needs to be harsher on credentials and only let in state media that will champion them and not actually do journalism. Yeah. So why am I so upset now? We already know this. We already know this is their playbook. But this is this is it. This is the last few days of this psychopath administration who has started a genocide, has started a proxy war responsible for hundreds of thousands of deaths in the last 4 years. And people told us that the big boys were coming in and they were going to take over in 2021, and the responsible adults were coming in the room to help run things. And the hell right. Yeah, right. Anthony Blinken, we knew, was a warmonger coming in, and he needs to be yelled at. He needs to be pressured. He needs to be scolded for 4 years of tyranny and abuse of power and upward transfer of wealth and the murder of so many people. And you're not going to let these journalists at least be able to speak their mind. And you can disagree with them. You can challenge their opinion. But for CNN, how dare CNN pretend that this is riffraff coming in off the street and we don't know who they are and they did some horrible things. They didn't even play the clip. They didn't even play anything that Max said. They didn't play anything. They are presenting this to their viewers as if these people are just completely out of line, with no regard for what they were representing. All the murdered people, all the displaced people, all the children with limbs blown off their bodies. Nothing to say about that. With 3 days left of this disgusting, despicable, atrocious, just god-awful administration, probably the worst 4 years we've had in our entire history. These 4 years have been the most disgusting, appalling. And I'm not talking Democrat, Republican. Let's just forget all that shit. We're talking about neocon, neo-lib, warmongering, psychopath, Israel-funded, Israel-supported, just total maniacal sociopaths running our country, and they're doing it out in the open, and CNN champions it the whole way. F them for doing that. And kudos and really bravo, standing ovation to Max and to Sam. And we look forward to hearing more from them as far as what their experience was like doing this, and this is what they signed up for. So we know that, and we appreciate that. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of heroism to go in there. You know what you're going into, and you can say this. They handled you. The manhandling that they did, totally inappropriate. Obviously, you have to be prepared for that. So bravo to you two and anyone else. And that's it. That's why you guys are both getting loudest voice of the week for doing the journalism we need from you, from the ground, from citizen journalism. Because the corporations, the corporate Pfizer-funded military-industrial complex, CIA backed media ain't doing it. Okay, that should about do it. Again, we'll be back next. We're actually going to be doing Tuesdays and Thursdays now for you guys. So we'll be back with you on Tuesday, and we'll definitely cover more of the COVID vax stuff we can't really talk about right now because we're still on YouTube here. But yes, don't forget to join up if you're catching us for the first time or you've seen us around. You can get us right here on Rumble or Twitter X at The Homeless Left. You can do, and this is our burner channel. We call it the burner channel, the secret THL presents on YouTube, because the Homeless Left on YouTube was terminated for having conversations about the war machine, having conversations about challenging Israel, having conversations about challenging big pharma. These are the reasons they didn't let us have that channel up. So we're going to continue to do it we're not stopping. We're not giving up. You can support us at Locals. We appreciate all of that. Thank you, guys. And what a great show today. I think that's it for now. I just want to thank again Craig and Dawn and Leslie, everybody helping us out today, especially Jamie on the ones and twos today. We really, really appreciate it. And next, I think what we're going to do, we will be covering the inauguration. We got Dawn on the ground covering the inauguration for us on Monday. We'll be back on Tuesday with some post-inauguration coverage. I believe I'll be on Truth Wire on Monday with these guys as well, with Fiorella, with Craig. Also, don't miss us. Homeless Left, myself, will be on with Garland Nixon again tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, to have a follow-up on the LA fires and on the war machine that we're watching in real time just ramp up their efforts on their last few days in office. But good riddance to this administration. Good riddance to Biden and his gang of psychopaths. Good riddance indeed. And whatever Trump does or doesn't do, we'll hold him accountable when the time is for the time for us to do that. We will hold him accountable. But the current administration, you had your chance. You had your chance. And now we punish you for letting us down. Not letting us down, but the awful, awful things you've done to us, to this planet. We will punish you for that. And let's see if Trump can do any better. But we're not holding our breath. But we'll see. And if he screws up too, then we punish him. That's how it works. That's how politics is supposed to work. So thanks again, guys. We're going to leave you with a mashup of some other activists. This is good because I had thrown this on before I knew about Max and Sam. Some activists challenging Blinken. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people doing this, not just journalists, but activists are challenging Blinken also. So I'm going to leave you with that, and we'll see you next time. Let's see. I've got to mention, Jamie will be on the ground too. Jamie will be on the ground too in DC. So we got Don, we got Jamie, we got all of it. Yeah, we're doing it as a team. We're doing it as a team. We appreciate all you guys again. You know what? Let me throw one more comment on. I love this. We don't get too many comments from X, but this is the kind of pushback we get. Hey, we'll give you some time. Here you go, Steven. Look at that. The deal was supposed to go into effect until Sunday. We know that. We covered it, Stephen. Thank you for telling us that what we already told you. And it hasn't actually been signed by Israel's cabinet. That's right. We covered that too. Thanks for clarifying, Stephen. So they didn't break shit. Oh, okay. So technically they didn't break it if it wasn't signed. More bullshit. Slanderous lies to hurt the Jewish people. Shame on you. Yes, Stephen. That's why we do the show. That's why we have thoughtful conversations, because our intention is to hurt people, right? So you got great analytical skills there. Because I assume the corporate media, they're helping people. But we, the unpaid, on the ground journalists, citizen journalists, doing the independent media, getting censored, getting punished, getting terminated, we're the ones that want to hurt people, not them, not the ones that are being paid by the billionaire class, not the ones being promoted by the CIA, getting checks from Pfizer and Moderna. But I'm sure, Stephen, you're ready to go get your 12th booster. So why don't you get in your car, drive over there now? It's time for your booster. Go for it, Stephen. And thanks for watching, by the way. Okay, that was fun. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. Till then, power to the people, free Palestine, all that. We power in numbers, all that stuff, but always go at things with courage, conviction, and above all, principle. We'll see you next time. Here we go. This is the Blinken. We're out, and we'll play you guys out with some of your comments we didn't get to as well. So here you go. Outro coming right up. Okay, we out. We'll see you guys next time.
Clear there was a path to mutual return to compliance if Tehran was willing to take the steps necessary. At the same time, we strengthened America's robust sanctions regime on Iran and delivered on President Biden's commitment.
You will forever be known as Bloody Blinken, Secretary of Genocide. You have the blood of hundreds of thousands of innocent people on your hands. We have spent
Thank you. I respect your views. Please allow me to share mine. Thank you.
Appeal to your humanity. In front of your house, we've written you letters. We've held car rallies. The blood of innocent civilians, of children, is on your hands. We will not forget. We will not forget. We will hold you
so to continue. At the same time, we strengthened America's robust sanctions regime on Iran and delivered on President Biden's commitment that Iran would not obtain a nuclear weapon on his watch. He reminded Israel that while the country had a right, indeed an obligation, to defend itself, how it did so mattered. It was imperative to protect civilians and provide them with humanitarian assistance. These are the goals that I've worked to advance over a dozen trips to the region since October 7th.
How do you do all that and then sit here and tell these people, civilized people, that you are doing what? Kill your policy for the Middle East? Kill, and just like the Israelis say. You're a brutal war criminal. We sat in front of your house for a year. You have no compassion. You are a monster.
All of this has been part of an all-of-administration effort led by President Biden. Our imperative is not to turn back the clock to the way things were before October 7th. It's to forge a new reality for the Middle East in which all people are more secure, all can realize their national aspirations, all can live in peace. Is that hard to achieve? Yes. Peace in the region always has been.
For over 450 days, Israel has committed genocide against the Palestinian people. We have sent over $25 billion to Israel in the past year. That's $70 of all of our money. $70 that we are using to send weapons, send bombs, and genocide. Lincoln, you lied on May 10th to Congress. You lied. ProPublica looked it up.